See. मस्त ठीक है.
Right. So, hello everyone. All right. So, I hope you are having a good day. How are you all? Yeah. Hello. Hello everyone. Cool. So, yeah. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Supriyo, Abhishek, Vishal, Mansh, and Anushka. Yeah. Fine. Great. Great. So, yeah. So this is in this class. I mean, we'll wait for a few minutes, obviously, right? And then we will continue with the class. By the time, if you have any questions now, do let me know. I'll quickly open up my By the time I'll quickly open up the schedule and all, and I'll open up my folder and create all these things. Let me know any queries are there. I'm good, everyone. Yeah. Code the link is there in the, okay, I think this is the previous code. Don't worry, I'll do one thing. I'll update it with the recent code, right? I'll upload the recent code that we are doing, and I'll add proper comments, and then I'll upload it in this same sheet, right? So don't worry about it. By the time you can go through this previous recording also, and that is also kind of a similar module that we took, right? I mean, kind of a similar topic we took. So can you please repeat once the objects? Yeah, I'll give you a quick overview about it. Don't worry. Yeah, about the weekly contest, right? So I don't have very much idea on that. First of all, very right now because I've been like less connected about this on the team, but I'm sure that they would have added things related to what we have discussed in the whole week only, right? Not much more than that. I'll even like have a talk with him, like with them regarding the same. But yeah, cool. So I think we are good, right? Let's quickly start with a quick overview of whatever we were doing in the last class. Yeah, I'll send it one more time and I'll. Just a second. Great. You can access this over here. Right. I know the code links are like the old ones, but that has also got all of the code links and all the snippets, right? You can also view it from there. There will be no problems. In fact, these notes will be much more descriptive from the last batch. So you can refer it till this point, right? I'll definitely add the code snippets and everything from this class also. And I'll then change the link, right? By maybe lately, by tomorrow morning, you'll get the updated link in the same lab, in the same, what do you say? In the same Google Sheet, right? Now, I think we should quickly start by discussing the last class content, right? Great. Just give me a second. I should have connected it. All right. So in the last class, what we were discussing about, where did that go? Okay, we started writing that on the paper, like on the code only. But yeah, basic thing that we started was introduction to how function looks, how arrays looks, and how objects look. I hope that was the main agenda from the last class, right? And also type conversion and coercion, right? There it is. Not this one, but we started with the discussion on type conversion, coercion, JavaScript function, how do they look like, how about arrays, and how about objects. I'll quickly move to the code and then I'll show you the example right there only. Right. I was writing that into basics too. I'll open that up. All right. So as you can see, right, the first discussion that we were having that was very, very over explained with times was about type coercion and conversion. I'll just quickly summarize it. I'll not go into the depth. In case you have any particular queries, what would happen in that situation, or can you elaborate this case? I'll definitely take that. But quickly going over through it, conversion and coercion basically means that conversion is basically when sometime you might need to convert a type of a variable. Something is in string, you want to convert that to a number and then do the operation. So that thing is called as conversion, right? And you can change numbers from string to number and vice versa. Anything you can do. But just make sure that if you are writing numeric 20 or you want to change it to string, that is very, very easily possible. But if you want to change a alphabetical string, suppose I'll write, I'm a good developer, I'm a good guy, something like that, and you want to change that to a number, right? That is not possible, right? In this case, we are not doing something like that. We will take the sky value and then we'll convert it. It is not going to happen, right? It's converted directly. Only the type is getting converted, not the sky value, nothing like that is getting converted, right? So in case you want to convert a string to a number, if it is any alphabet in there, then that will obviously give NaN. In that case, it's not a number. In case the string was a number, right? Number as in the string format, you have written 20. You want to convert it back to string. Will it get converted to a number? Yes or no? Without any problem? Yes, right? It will get converted because yeah, the type is changed from a string to number now, right? That was a main whole discussion that we were having. And parallelly to that, we were also discussing something about type coercion. So coercion basically means that, when conversion is happening, but you are not doing it explicitly, rather it is happening automatically from the JavaScript end, that is called as coercion, right? One simple thumb rule, which I told you, which I, explained with different scenarios and all these different stories, was simply like that. If you are doing an addition operation, and one is an integer type and one is a string type, what will happen is all the numbers will get converted into string, or the number type will get converted into string, and the concatenation will happen. That is the first thing. Second thing is all the other operations like multiply, minus, divide, modulo, everything. In that case, if one is a number and another is a string, what will happen? The vice versa will happen. Now the numbers will not get converted into string, rather strings will get converted into numbers. If strings were successful in able to converting themselves, right? If 20 was written in string format and it got converted into numeric 20, it's going to give you a perfect answer. Else it is going to give you NaN. That is not a number, right? I hope this whole discussion is crystal clear now. Can we move ahead? Or any quick questions you want to ask in that? Guys, you can give me a thumbs up if things are good from your end. All right. Again, if I have explained that in very quick manner, you can view the last class recording. The option is always there with you, right? And I'll come to object also, right? I'm moving step by step. Don't worry. Next up, we started discussing about about functions, what they are, and what are the ways of writing functions, right? So I've given you a syntax of writing a function, and I've tried comparing it with the way that you used to write in Java. Right? How you used to write in Java is that you used to write the return type of the function, which is not required here. You don't need to write int, string, void, a character, or all these things. You can directly skip that and you can place a function keyword in place of that. Right? Instead of writing this, you could place function over here. Second thing was the name of the function, right? Name of the function is obviously going to be there in Java and in JavaScript also. Again, in JavaScript, there are other ways wherein you can skip the name of the function in some or the other sense. I hope you know the case, but I'll again come back to that also. Yeah, so after that, you'll write the name of the function. Then you'll give the parameters or arguments of the function, right? What all it takes to perform the operation. In this case, in Java case, you used to also tell the type of the variables, or tell the type of the parameters that, okay, this is an integer type, this is a character type, this is this type, and this is that type. In this, as usual, you don't need to give the type and you can just directly pass a comma b. Right, and that eventually sums up to give us a syntax of writing function. Rest the body is going to be exactly the same, just like you used to give return statement, or just like you used to write return keyword in Java. Similar way you can write the return keyword over here also. Right, so is it making sense about the basic way of writing function? This is a basic normal way of writing a function. Yeah. Next thing was about function expression. Now, what is function expression? Function expression is basically, you're writing a function, but you want to pass the whole value of a function. When I mean value of a function, it's not like what function is returning and then you are passing it. It's basically what the function has the capability of doing. You just want to pass this capability of function doing stuff to a variable, right? And that you can write it this way. On the right hand side, you can normally write the function just like you used to write, right? Add function, delete function, subtract, minus, whatever you want to write. You can write that on the right hand side. And on the left hand side, what you can do is you can just assign it to a variable, just like normally you used to do, right? Let subtract equals to 10, let subtract equals to 20. Instead of giving any value over here, what you will give, you'll give the direct function name, right? So is it making sense about function expression also? Any question till this point? Cool. Line for, can you give the name of the function after 32 pay? Yeah, you can give the name of the function over here also, guys. It is not going to give you any error, but that will be redundant, right? Nobody is going to use that function. So why to give a function on that one, right? So that's why we have given it an anonymous function. And this is another way of writing a function in JavaScript. That is, anonymous function could also be written, right? And I'm just introducing you to stuff, right? I know for many use cases, you might ask in what case you could use it and why should we discuss all these different types? Yeah. We'll definitely have a proper session on functions and everything, right? So in that, we'll take that into a little deep manner. Next up is, obviously, right? How do you call a function, right? You can just write the name of the function and just pass the parameters and the function is being called. That's it. No rocket science. So similarly, that you can also do here and, it will get invoked. It will get called, right? So I'm hoping that function ka introduction is clear to all of you now. Is it clear? Cool. Great. Next up we have is about arrays, right? In arrays, right, the basic definition of array was very thoroughly discussed in the last class, that arrays are nothing but arrays is basically collection of different type of data. And please notice this word different type, because it's not necessary. I mean, could be similar type, could be different type also, right? It's just a collection of different elements or different data types, different variables, whatever it is, right? So homogeneous collection is not necessary. I'm repeating this one more time, because quite a lot of time it happens that you'll say, okay, this is not valid only, and you start questioning the interviewer, or you'll start questioning the exam setter or whatsoever, that how the hell this is possible. Anyways, so the basic principle of arrays remains the same over here also, right? You'll all the memories will be contiguous. The first index will be 0, the last index will be n-1 index, right? And in case you want to access any particular index of the array, how can you do it? Very simple, very intuitive. Write the name of the array and then write this parenthesis and that index which you want to address or which you want to point to. Right, so that was the simple basic thing. In case you also want to change anything from that index, you want to replace this ABC with XYZ. How will you do it? Very simple, marks of the index ka number, which is 1, and then write it as XYZ, and that will get replaced. Right, these are very basic things about arrays, right, which we have discussed in a quite more detailed manner in the last class. In case you have any problems understanding the basics, you can first refer to that. Still, if any problem persists, do let me know. I'll help you out with that. Next up, we started discussing some common methods, right, that are already there with arrays, right? First was, what if you want to add something to the array? How can you do it? Very simply, just use marks.push, and whatever number you'll write or whatever element you'll write after that will get pushed to the array from the last position, obviously. And what if you want to remove something from the last position? You will use a pop method, and the element from the last position will get removed, right? So these are two simplest methods. Then we also have certain other methods also. Two more methods we discussed. That is, one is a shift operator or a shift method, and one is an unshift method, right? Shift, what it does is shift simply means that, what if you want to remove something from the top now? In that case, you use a shift operator, right? Sorry, shift method. What if you want to add something from the start? In that case, you will write an unshift method, right? That is just for the basic understanding only. You don't need to remember this, right? Even if you don't remember it, you'll still be called as you can still call yourself as a developer only, right? So no issue with that. That was it about it. And splice and everything we also discussed, but we can avoid it for a minute, because as the discussion will become very intense. Right, so that was everything around arrays. I hope arrays maybe we are good. Any other queries with array? Any questions? Great. Now let's discuss about objects, which was the highlight from the last class, and which, as usual, quite a lot of people would not have understood. What do I understand with arrays is nothing but it is an umbrella term, or it represents an entity, which is basically collection of different variables and methods all together combined to represent an entity, right? In simple words, it is collection of key value pairs, which can contain properties, can contain function, and it is basically used to represent an entity of real life world, right? So as you can see, whatever my definition says in summary, you can see that it looks something like this. It is a collection, first of all. Yeah, this is a collection. It has certain properties. These are what? These are properties, right? These are different variables, and variables has their value. These are properties. What is this? This is method. Method is what? Method is a function. So it could contain properties, it could contain methods, it could contain both of them. That is the first thing. And since it is a key value pair, so each property will be written with the name, colon, the value. Similarly, name of the property, then the colon and the value, right? And function, if we talk, function, maybe we'll write the name of the function and then the value of the function, or the whole function declaration, right? So that is about object, and this is how it looks like. I'm not going into the depth portion of it, that what are internal behavior of array of objects, how do we actually create objects, and what are different ways of doing it. But this is just for the introduction part. Right? Any particular queries with array with objects, and I'll also explain in Hindi also एक बार. But any other queries if you have got, do let me know. Right now, हिंदी में बताने के लिए देखो, बहुत सिंपल सा यूज केस में आपको लास्ट क्लास में भी बता रहा था कि एक सिनेरियो इमेजिन करोगे कि आपको कुछ प्रॉपर्टीज और मेथड को एक साथ क्लब करना है, तो उस काम में ऑब्जेक्ट आता है आपका. ऑब्जेक्ट को आप बोल सकते हो कलेक्शन होता है प्रॉपर्टीज और मेथड का. प्रॉपर्टीज वो आपका जो भी ये लिख रहे हैं हम लोग यहाँ पे वेरिएबल्स और उसकी वैल्यू लिख रहे हैं, ये प्रॉपर्टीज बोलते हैं इसको, और जो ये चीज है इसको हम मेथड्स बोलते हैं. लेट मी आल्सो राइट इट हियर. एवरीथिंग लाइक ऑफ मेथड्स and this is what we call as properties, right? And yeah, यही चीज होती है. एंड इसमें ये क्यों यूज करते हैं ऑब्जेक्ट? बिकॉज वी वांट टू रिप्रेजेंट, हम किसी एक रियल लाइफ एंटिटी को जो भी उसकी मिलती जुलती प्रॉपर्टी है उसको एक साथ रख के एक स्ट्रक्चर में प्रेजेंट करना चाहते हैं, राइट? सो आई होप the basic understanding about objects was also clear, and we can also change, or we can also access the value of the objects, right? Normally using a dot operator. You want to change the name, or you want to change the age or father name of that, definitely you can do it right away by writing obj.name, obj.age, obj.father underscore name, and all these things, right? And it will work very clearly. Okay, so we have one question. What are object literals? Object literals are basically, this way of creating objects is called as object literals only, right? And it's not literal, it's literal, right? What is work of object? Where can I use this? You can, I think I've given this example in the last class also, Kishan, कि बहुत जगह यूज हो सकता है ऑब्जेक्ट का. आपको एक ई कॉमर्स साइट का एग्जांपल जो मैंने लास्ट क्लास में दिया था, अगेन गाइस आई आल्सो एक्सप्लेन इन इंग्लिश आल्सो, जस्ट अ मिनट, वेट फॉर मी टू एक्सप्लेन दैट इन हिंदी. तो जैसे क्लास में मैंने आपको एग्जांपल दिया था कि आप ई कॉमर्स साइट पे जाते हो तो आपके पास अलग अलग प्रोडक्ट्स आते हैं, राइट? तो आपके पास 10 फोन अगर आपको कार्ट में दिखाई दे रहे हैं, या फिर 10 फोन आपको स्क्रीन पे दिखाई दे रहे हैं, तो हर फोन का एक मॉडल होता है, हर फोन का बैटरी लाइफ होती है, हर फोन का स्क्रीन डिस्प्ले होता है, बहुत सारी चीजें होती है, रैम वगैरह और चीजें होती हैं. तो अगर आपको 10 फोन दिखाने हैं तो आपको 10 अलग अलग वेरिएबल्स लाने पड़ेंगे, है ना? एक वेरिएबल लाना पड़ेगा बैटरी नंबर 1, बैटरी नंबर 2, बैटरी नंबर 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 करनी पड़ेगी. फोन नंबर 1 के लिए बैटरी नंबर 1 वेरिएबल होगा, फोन नंबर 2 के लिए बैटरी नंबर 2 वेरिएबल होगा. ऐसे बहुत लंबा, बहुत सारे वेरिएबल्स का काम हो जाएगा, राइट? जो बिल्कुल भी जरूरी नहीं है. बल्कि आप क्या कर सकते हो, आप बोल सकते हो मुझे फोन्स रिप्रेजेंट करने हैं, तो फोन्स को मैं एक ऑब्जेक्ट से रिप्रेजेंट करूंगा, और जितने भी नए फोन आएंगे उसके लिए सिर्फ मेरे को हर फोन का सिर्फ एक वेरिएबल बनाने की जरूरत है, राइट? हर फोन का बनेगा फोन नंबर 1, फोन नंबर 2, फोन नंबर 3, फोन नंबर 4, फोन नंबर 5, सो अप टिल फोन नंबर 10, राइट? अभी 10 वेरिएबल बने और उसके अंदर जो भी प्रॉपर्टीज हैं उन सबको आपने क्लब के अंदर ऑक्यूपाई कर दिया, राइट? फोन की बैटरी, फोन का जो भी और भी स्पेसिफिकेशन है, ये एक बहुत लेमैन यूज केस है ऑब्जेक्ट्स का, राइट? और भी एग्जांपल आएंगे हमारे पास, बट वही चीज है कि दिस इज जस्ट द बेसिक क्लासेस, राइट? सो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम नॉट taking any hi-fi examples now. Again, to quickly summarize that, whatever I've got, whatever I explained in Hindi is basically that, that person was asking about what is the real life use case of an object, right? So just explain this, that in case you would have ever visited any e-commerce site, in that you have like list of phone, like maybe you are searching for phones, suppose, right? So phones, maybe there would be like bunch of phones. Each phone will have certain properties like name, like model number, year of manufacturing, and all these other things. Each of them will require a different variable to be used, which you might not want to do it. Why you might not want to do is, like, you will have thousands of such variables to deal with. That is not a good thing to have. Rather, what you can do is each phone you can represent that using one object. And if you have 10 phones, instead of having 100 variables, you'll only have maybe 10 variables at that point. Again, you can even optimize that, right? Instead of creating 10 different objects, you can create arrays of an object also, but we'll come to that later, right? So that was everything about objects, right? So I'm hoping that now object is making much more sense to all of you. And in case there is any other follow-up question with that, do hit me up with your questions in the charts. Else give me thumbs up, and then we will move ahead with the basic introduction to DOM, and why do we need DOM, and what are the basic operations that we can do on DOM. Clear? Okay. All right. Great. Got it. Great. All right. Till the time you are giving me the confirmation, in case there are any questions, don't feel free, don't feel shy to ask these, right? Nobody's judging you. I'll even, I'm not sure about that, Zanuel, right? What will come on the tomorrow's contest, because I've been less, I didn't got the chance to interact with the batch managers and to discuss on that, but I'm damn sure that they will give you definitely whatever is discussed throughout the week only, not much more than that. All right, so that is added, and I'm also adding my script dot source file in his. I just like to do this, step at the very first point because this is what makes me feel good. DOM. Manipulation, right? All right. So now let's first of all start discussing about what DOM is and what do I understand with that, right? I'll do one more thing again. I have to sort that, software wherein I could write all these things in a much detailed manner. But yeah, let's go with this only for this more class. Just a minute. Yeah. So we are discussing about DOM now. Now, what do we mean by DOM and what is the full form of DOM? DOM simply means document object model. Right. And now I know the name could, create confusion. What is document, what is object and model, right? Yeah, that's good. Now let me quickly, start with the whole scenario based situation, because this is what I feel like would give you better clarity. Because if I just give you one definition, you might not understand it. But if I'll explain that using a scenario, you might have a better chance of understanding or remembering that scenario, right? So the thing is that about, DOM, you must have heard that DOM is basically used, or JavaScript is basically used to also manipulate the content of the HTML. Whatever is written in your website, JavaScript can help you to modify that. So for this very purpose, we use DOM. That is a first discussion that we can, take. That is one of the key points that we can take from here, right? That DOM is used for that, right? Second thing, which is the most important stuff, that is DOM is not directly part of the JavaScript, right? So please be aware that, from the coming times, or, whenever you'll have a discussion with any developers, don't assume or don't refer to DOM as a JavaScript only, right? JavaScript के साथ we use DOM, but DOM is not a direct part of JavaScript, right? This is just an additional information I'm giving you, although not very much required. But let me, start writing all these points. Used to modify / manipulate web page content, right? So that is the first point. If DOM used to modify the HTML doc, I'll come to that, right? So I'm just giving you few pointers, right? I'll also explain what is DOM and then why the hell is this different from JavaScript and all these things. I'll come to that. First of all, let me give you some pointers, right? Because this is where the things will start getting interesting, right? I'm sure that you guys are curious, right? Yeah, exactly. It is kind of an interface, right? And what is that interface? Why do we need interface? I'll also come to that. Second thing, not technically JavaScript, right? This is not technically just a minute. Why this? Yeah, too much of disturbance. It is not technically JavaScript, right? What else we can conclude is, yeah, this is only a few points we can write. If points, if I'll have few more points on my mind, I'll keep on adding it over here. Now, if that is not the case, and how the hell is this is allowing us to change in the content of that, let's quickly start discussing it. First of all, can you tell me, just a minute. First of all, can you tell me that is HTML, directly readable, as in, if I say that I have a programming language and I want that programming language to particularly select an element from my page and then do some modification over there. Is my language capable of doing it? No, right? Because HTML is what? HTML is plain text in that sense, right? So any language, we don't know any language which can just read out the whole text and particularly select any element and then change it, right? That is the biggest confusion. That is the biggest problem that we had in that, instead of a scripting language. But again, if it is even a scripting language, right? Scripting language could not read the whole text and then just present or just particularly select an element, right? Because you could have written that in any sort of manner, right? So for that, right, as people were saying, it is an interface. So let me give you the scenario, and I hope you will remember this discussion and this whole diagram that I've created. This is plain text. This is HTML file I'm talking about. If this is an HTML file, this is plain text, right? Nothing much more than that. And if I talk about JavaScript, right? it is a programming / scripting language. Whatsoever it is, JavaScript is some language, right? JavaScript does not know how to connect with HTML and then do the modification. So in this case, in this very this case, what happens is that, you know, there is an interface that runs on between of them that is called as DOM, right? What it does it now, JavaScript does not have to, let me write it over here. This is JavaScript, right? Now JavaScript does not have to directly interact with HTML. What JavaScript will do is JavaScript will interact with the HTML using what? Come on. Yes, using this DOM, right? This DOM ke through JavaScript will interact with that. Not OM, but DOM. Yes, I think this discussion must be clear to you. And now you are able to understand that, okay, JavaScript is a different stuff and DOM is a different stuff. But we use them very closely, let me tell you. It's not like that for DOM, we have to create a separate file. It's never going to be the same, right? We will write the DOM and all these things with that. But DOM is the functionality that the browser has given us, right? Let me also write it. DOM is the functionality that the browser has given us. Browser provided functionality, and not particularly what? And not particularly JavaScript. Is this discussion very clear to you? You might also want to know that, you know, how HTML is being converted into DOM and how the hell is my JavaScript converting or talking with them. We'll come to that. Don't worry. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Let's start with the very first of that. Okay, the DOM is good and all, right? But how can we see DOM, or how does a DOM look like? So I'll start writing a simple part of code here, and then I'll keep on explaining it. For the simplicity, I'll just remove all of this non-necessary stuff from here. And this is what I'll just write, right? So this is my new HTML code, right? Now, what DOM is, how can you, like, I told you, right? This is plain HTML text, and then JavaScript is not able to connect with them. Then how the hell is this DOM able to connect with JavaScript? Is this a valid question that I'm asking? If HTML is not able to connect directly with JavaScript, then how the hell this DOM can be connected with JavaScript? This must be something special, nah? This must be something special version of HTML. Yes or no? Obviously, this must be that. So what is this DOM? Let's quickly, let's quickly decode it. So I would say DOM, what a DOM looks like is, it's basically representation of your HTML nodes or HTML tags in a tree-like manner. Tree-like manner as in, you know, what is the first thing that, you know, let me also open up my, just a minute, guys. No, I don't want to see anything on that. Let me take my on-screen pen. Just give me a sec. Great. So as I was saying that, you know, if this is your HTML, right, what happens is that this whole page is converted into a tree-like structure. And what is the first node of that? That is HTML, right? This is the first part of the node. Just a minute. Let's take a different color also. Then what we have inside HTML, can you help me out? What are the trees, or what are the children of? Yeah, document is also there. I'll come to that, but let's slide whatever is there on the screen directly. Yeah, we have head and body, right? So can I say head and body are again nodes of the HTML? I hope you know this, why this is happening, because if you look at the code, right, this whole thing is HTML. Starting from top till end it's HTML. What are these two parts? This part is the head part and this part is a body part. Can I conclude HTML has only two parts, head and body? Yes, right? So that is sorted. Now, if you look into the head part, right, does head further has any children? Yes or no? Obviously, head does have some further childrens, right? What are these? Now, till now, right, we have only title as a children only. Earlier we were having metas and all these things, but let's only talk about what is there on the screen right now. Yeah, exactly. Right. So head may only one children. What childrens we have in body? Again, in body, we only have one for the minute script. We are not talking about this vacant thing, right? Because that is not enclosed with any, any tag. Let's do that only. Let's enclose it with the tag. Let's say that we have h1. And we are just enclosing it with that. Yeah. So now I enclose this with H1. And what are the other children of body now? Now the other children of body includes this also, right? It includes H1 also. So this is basically the tree-like structure of your whole page. And how it is generated? It is generated because of DOM. So DOM is this functionality which just takes your HTML code and it just convert your whole damn simple looking text-like page into a tree-like structure. Is the first point making sense? Let's go step by step only. To everyone, let's not go over how it creates it, right? Because this is the this is the behavior that the browser offers us. We don't need to worry about how it is being provided. We only need to bother is that, okay, it is being provided, yes or no. That is being provided, right? And each and every single node that you can see, one more thing, there is a parent to that, which is document, right? Document is a kind of a godfather for everyone, right? Every page that we have throughout our whole website, or will obviously have document at the top and then HTML hidden body, and depending upon that, what code is written, right? The children and sub-children will obviously change between that, right? So that is about the whole tree-like structure, and each single node, each node of this tree is basically a whole object in itself. This is what you used to understand. This is what you need to understand at the moment, right? Any question? Because I think I'm speaking pretty much senseful things and on point also. Any further question you have, or you want to have any other discussion? Yes, exactly, right. So now in this class only, we cannot use this with the Node.js command, right? That we were doing in the last class, node script.js. Why? Because Node DOM is only specific to browsers, right? So that's why in this class, you will see me writing the code on directly browsers for browser and checking the output on browser and not on console. My terminal console, you'll not see me doing that. Right. Chalo. If that all is making sense, right, we can also, start discussing that, okay, if the DOM looks like this, and how can we, manipulate some content, or how can we, first of all, select anything out of that, right? I'll just do one thing. I'll open this with live preview with live server. Just a minute. Great. It is now open with live server. I'll just do one thing. I'll open it over here, and maybe I'll just try to log the document, although I know that, I'll not be able to get the right answer. Can you see document likhte hi, everything is selected now. Can you see everything from top to bottom is selected? Yes or no? And this includes the whole of the code, right? That we have written in the browser, sorry, in the VS Code, right? This. And you would say, sir, why are these too many different style tags are there? Because some of them are browser presented style, because browser does gives some by default style. And there are some Loom containers, Grammarly containers, and everything, because these are some different extension that we have. But whatever code we have written is obviously there, right? I hope document is making sense that, yeah, injected by browser. Yeah, exactly. Is document is making sense that everything has document on top of it. This discussion must be making sense to you by now. Now, if that is clear, right? Keep every element is every page has a document element that further contains all of this, right? Let's try to see that what will happen if I'll write document dot maybe head. What if I write something like this? What do you think will happen? Can you see? Again, whatever is there in my head section of the document is right in front of you, right? It is saying document because it says document. Let's quickly change the text. And why I'm telling you this, right? Let's change the text to maybe DOM testing and reload the page. And for the starting few minutes, things will not make sense. But in few minutes, they will start making sense. I'll write document dot head. And can you see this? Just a minute. Can you see this? What it says? It says DOM testing. Why is it saying DOM testing? Because obviously we have grasped the value of it from our DOM. Making sense? And see, you can avoid that. But can you see this way that we have written? It's just basically descendant of add, but can you see that the way of writing it, is it somehow similar to object? Assume we have created a document, an object with name document, and we have added some properties like head, name, body, fingers, and everything like that, right? Did to exactly same way, right? So can we conclude it from here that document is nothing, but it is an object in itself? Can we conclude this thing? We are concluding everything based out of the fact only, right? I'm not forcing anything up to you. I'm just proving it down and then moving to the next concept. So first thing that made sense is that, okay, maybe every node that we can see, every element in our whole page is an object in itself. It might be confusing, but please listen to this one more time, that every element in your page is nothing but it's nothing but an object, right? I'm not saying each and every single word. I'm not saying about each and every single word. I'm saying every tag that you have. HTML was a tag. Obviously, HTML is an object, right? Head was also a tag. Head is also an object. Similarly, title is also a tag. Title is also object, and everything that you have as an element will be a object. Style tags are showing because some by default styles are being added to the browser, right? So that's why they are being displayed over here. There is too much of stuff that a browser automatically adds, or maybe all these extension automatically adds. That's why we are able to see style tag and every other tags here, right? So pretty basic stuff. We are clear that, okay, this whole is a tree-like structure. Second thing is every node of the tree is nothing, but it is an object. Why I can say that is because I can run some methods on that, right? I can run a method of changing the text, reading the values and changing the values and all these other things. Right. So I think that is making a little bit more sense, right? So if these things are making sense, right? Let's try to see that what all does this document method contains, right? I'll just do one thing. I'll go to my script and I'll try to console log the whole document. I'll even do it from here and I'll even do it from the console. Okay, it says whole document only. Oh, just a minute. Yeah, it contains whole document, but I want to see that what methods and what does it contain. Document dot. Can you see? If I've just written document dot and there is like couple of properties that you can see. Let me, shift it here. Document, sorry. What's happening? Yeah. Document dot, and can you see all these different properties are there, right? Document dot head, document dot this and that and that and that. Quite the list is very huge, right? You can see everything is written here. Is it visible, guys? Yes or no? It is visible, right? And there is like quite a lot of things going on. So what can we also conclude? Yeah, we can also conclude that document is again an object in itself, right? So that's really good. But if document is an object, right? And every object must have what? I mean, every objects could have properties, objects would have function also, right? If this is an object, right, this could also have properties. This could also have some functions, isn't it? Obviously, it should have. Let's start with one of the, very, very simple properties. I mean, I think document.location is a property, right? And I've just written it this way. And if I'm going to hit enter, can you see what is getting printed here? What is this? Can you like tell me the type of this thing that is just printed? No, it's not directly a path. I don't think it's a path. It's something other than path. See the type of this. Isn't it? Yes. Isn't it an object in itself? This again is an object, right? We have access to all regions. The value is there. Assign value is there. Host name, href, and everything is there, right? No, it's not a URL, Shivam, first of all, right? URL can be, URL can be taken from the origin, right? Document.location.origin. We can take it from here. I'll come to that what do we write in JS? Don't worry, Kishan. I'm first of all trying to understand or make sure that you understand the scenario. Once we are clear with the scenario, that where we use it, why we use it, then we'll definitely come to JavaScript to print this also. First of all, I think you are now agreeing to this point that, okay, document is nothing, but document is an object. And inside document, there could be method, there could be function. And one simple method I've written right now. I've just written location. Don't need to worry about location. What is location and why do we need location? I'll come to that. Right. But this is the first step. Right. And it further contains all these objects in itself. So what can I conclude, and how can I mentally map an image of this is I can say something like this. I can say document. Document is an object, right? And it further contains maybe some property. Property number 1 is the value. Property number 2 is again a value. Maybe property number 3, that is not a value, but that is what? That is again an object, right? And maybe property number 4, maybe not property, but this time we have method, right? Method number 1, we could have method 2, and that could be function 1, that could be function 2, something like that we can have, right? Can we assume it this way? Is it making sense? That something like that I can imagine about my document to look like. Yes, right. So this is the basic structure of a document. And not only this, let me tell you, every single thing that you can see as a DOM, right? DOM means every single element that you'll have ever in your page. Every single element, not about document. Every single element represent the same damn structure. I'm not saying that every property or every element will have all these same property number 1, property number 2, property number 3, but it will look something like that. It will look closely like that. The number of properties might vary, but somehow or the other, it will look like that. Let's do one more thing, right? I tried printing document, right? I tried printing document, and document had all these methods like location, hidden, etc., something like that. What if I'll select document.head and then I start pressing dot now? Can you see this? Again, document.head dot, there are again quite a lot of methods inside this. Can you see this? Get HTML element, inner text, inner mode, get before, insert before, normalize, everything is there. Yes or no? Quite a lot of things are there, right? So can we also conclude that, okay, head is also an object? Yes, we can conclude that head is also an object. Yes. What if I'll not select head, but what if I'll select dot body? Will the body again have the properties? Obviously, body is also having all the properties. And it is not limited to single head or body. Every single thing. I'm repeating this line every time because I wanted to make sure that you understand that in your, like, in the fullest form, that every single node, every single tag that you have written in your, like anywhere in your page, is going to behave as an object. And who will do that for you? Will you have to do that using JavaScript? Or will that be an HTML? No. Yes, that will be DOM for you, right? DOM will just convert your boring looking HTML stuff into a tree-like structure. And every tree, every node will be a, it will be an object. Not like in practicality, it does not start creating a tree, right? It basically is a way of understanding it. Right. Suppose if I'll say family tree here, right? Try to draw family tree. You don't actually put your like family members into format of tree. Do you put that into format of tree? No, you don't. Rather, what you do is you just say that, okay, this is my father, this is my grandfather, and this is how they are associated. Something like this. You don't actually start creating line between them. Again, the DOM ka structure is like the DOM ka case is like kind of similar to that. Right. So I think now you are much more comfortable around having a quick idea about how DOMs looks like and everything. Right. So if everything is clear till this point, or you want to have any further questions or anything up ahead, any other question, any discussion here? Okay, let me also launch the poll because quite a lot of time this happens. Although I'm assuming that majority will hit for the no because only simple concepts were discussed, nothing major. Let's reset it. Yeah, please hit a yes if this basic idea is making sense. Or in case you want to have any other, discussion or anything about the basic idea, we can have the discussion. Else we can start actually writing this and implementing it on the screen on our website. All right, I think basics are clear. I can see early trend is there. Like 94% of the people are clear with the basics. Let's quickly start it, right? So what is a basic thing that you do, right? What is the basic thing that you would expect? You would expect that, okay, whatever is written on page, at least that I should be able to present, or that should I be able to print on my console. Can we start with this simple stuff? Yes, we should start with that. Okay, key point about DOM to tell the interview, you can simply say that DOM is basically an interface which helps the JavaScript to interact with HTML. That is thing. And in case you want to elaborate more, right? You can say, okay, each node over there is an object, and then DOM is not technically a part of JavaScript. It is basically something provided by the browser. You can keep on adding these points. But basic thing is it's nothing but an interface which help us into manipulating the content of the HTML page using JavaScript. Right? All right. So if that is clear, right? So what is a very basic stuff that will help us to read something that is there on the screen, or basically how to select anything from the screen, right? So as discussed earlier, right, we have access to what? We have access to document, and document is kind of a forefather, or that's kind of a godfather to everyone. Right. So what will we do is we will simply say that instead of logging document, right? Document does have certain powers. Document does have certain methods. Let me even show you here only. Yeah, document, as told earlier, document has certain methods, right? See, all these methods the document has got, right? So these methods are helpful, or these methods help us in actually selecting any page or any element basically throughout the whole page. Please note that please note that once more time is that document ke upar we have got certain methods, right? These methods help us to selecting anything or everything around the whole page. Suppose I'll give you a very lame example that I keep on giving is that you have to do somebody's encounter. Again, that's a wild case scenario, but in case a sniper has to shoot somebody, right? What they will do? They'll first of all target the person that they want to shoot, right? So this is what I'm trying to achieve, not actually shooting any element, but I want to manipulate any element of my HTML page. What should be the first step? The first step should be targeting it, or selecting that element. So what we are about to discuss now is how can you select that particular element through your JavaScript, right? So I'll write document, and document has got some methods, right? One methods among them is get elements by ID. And since this is a method, right, this is a functionality that is already written in JavaScript, not JavaScript, but in document object, right? So in case you pass the ID of the element which you want to select, let's give an ID over here, because without ID it will be null. I mean, it will not be of any use. I'll write maybe ID equals to H heading one, kuch bhi, right? So if I've written this, and if I write heading 1 over here, what will happen? If I hit enter on this, can you see what I've got? I've just got the whole first element, right? And can I say that by writing this method, I just got target, or I just got access to the element which I was looking for. Is JS interact with HTML or vice versa? Because you said HTML. See, I told you that using JavaScript, right, we can modify the content of the web page of the HTML, but it is not directly possible for JavaScript to read what is there in the HTML file. So what it does, it creates an interface, again, not JavaScript, but what DOM does, it creates an interface, right, that will be easily accessible by the JavaScript. So in layman terms, we can say that JavaScript is interacting with HTML, but directly it is not interacting with HTML. Rather, it is interacting with the DOM part of it. Right? I hope this is making some sense, Swapnil. Yeah. What can we say about document? We can say about document is that document is a parent, or document is a root level element to your whole DOM tree. Is pure DOM tree ka, this is a root from where everything starts from. And that's why every method that we write for the whole page, we started from document only. Right? Is it making much more sense now? I hope it is making sense. Right? Next up is that, chalo, that, now we are able to get something from like this way. I mean, you are able to select something by the ID. You must also be able to select something by the tag name or maybe by the class name. Yes or no? Because, to be very honest, ID is not sufficient. What we should do is we could have certain methods wherein suppose I'll give you a class and I want to select something that has a class name, or I'll just not give you a class or ID, rather I'll just have certain elements, right? Something like this I will have. I would have maybe h2 and that have heading 2, and I can also give this as a class now, heading 2, and I can also have a h3 that says heading 3, right? Again, there is no relation of giving them a class of heading 2 if the text is heading. I hope you understand that. It's just the random IDs or random class name I'm given, right? Just for the simplicity only. So now what I have is I have 3 elements. One has a ID, second one has a class name, third one has a tag name only, right? So I just wanted to know that how can you select each one of them individually using that methods on DOM. So I'll take that. Just a minute. Can you say DOM act as a mediator between HTML and it allows? Exactly. This is what we can say, Bhavika, that it's basically DOM is just providing interface to your HTML text. That is, and why it is doing that is because, our JavaScript cannot directly read what is there in the HTML. So it's basically makes sense to transform our HTML in order to make it compatible for the JavaScript to interact with it. Right? Yeah. Let's go ahead with now with this discussion now, and let's quickly start seeing that how can we select the heading 2 and heading 3. So as discussed earlier, document has certain methods. First method that we discussed was about get element by ID. And in this, you have to write the name of the ID which you want to select. What was this ID? First element ID, that was, I think, heading 1. By writing it, what would happen? Can you guess? I've just shown you this couple of minutes ago only. It will just select the whole element. Yes, right? And even if I'm hovering on that, the whole element is getting selected. Yes. So that's good. But what if I want to select something which does not have an ID, but rather it has a class? In that case, as you might have expected, right, the method will always be used on document, but it will be slightly different now. Get element by class name. Yes. And this is some method which will help us to select anything with a class name. But there is, there is something you need to be very peculiar about, is that this is not get element, rather it is get elements. Earlier we had what? Earlier we had get element by ID. This time what we have get elements by ID. Can you see that? Yes or no? I hope you can see that, right? It says get elements by class name and not get element by class name. So what difference will it make? Yes, exactly. All the tags with the similar name, right, will get selected. With a similar class name will get selected. And this first method is giving us only one thing as output. What will happen with this? Will this again give you one thing as an output, or will this going to give you a collection of all the things that matches it? Obviously, it is going to give you multiple thing, or it is going to give you a collection of thing that matches it, right? So let's quickly do it. I think that was heading 2. And if I do it, can you see it is just a collection kind of thing? Yes, exactly. As people are suggesting in chats that doesn't matter if you have only one element or if you have a couple of them, quite a lot of them, every time you'll receive a collection, right? It will not judge it like this way. Okay, one ही है, एक ही element है, तो I'll just return it one single only. And if you'll look into this collection, you will find out that what? You will find out that it only has one value, and that is this value, which is, what we were looking for, right? But you would say, sir, I got a collection, I got a reference to the collection. What if I only wanted to select the first value that matches this class, right? So what you can do, if this is a, if this is a collection, right? How can you select the first value of a collection? First child you can do, but why to do that way, right? Sorry. You can rather do it this way. And if assume it just like an array, and you can write this. As soon as you start writing 0, it will just select, arrays ka 0. It will select the first value of that, right? And suppose it would have returned 10 values in that, and you wanted to read the last value of the element, or the last value that matches the class name equals to heading 2. What would you have done in that case? Just a sec. What would have you done in that case? Obviously, you would have written 9 in that case. Why? Because if 10 values are there, obviously 9 will be the last value. Length minus 1, whatever is the length only. Right? So this is basically about how can you select with the ID and how can you select with the class name. Right? Let's only take let's move this discussion ahead with this, and I'll write some code and I'll give you scenarios to select some elements, and then we can take other discussion also. Right? Because let's solidify this, and then it would make sense to go ahead once that is solidified. So I would say that I have selected this, and maybe I would create certain more elements. Heading 4. Yeah, and I'll just give some random classes and some random names and all. I'll even add a paragraph tag and I'll give this a class. Something like this I have written, right? I've just written some complete bullshit over here. Sorry to use that word, but I've just written some nonsense stuff, right? And I want you to select all the element that has a class of heading 2 and just print that onto the screen. Can you do it? Like not on the screen, but on the console only. What if I write 1 on okay, if you write 1 on that, you know the answer, right? It's going to give you undefined. We have seen that in the last class also. I mean, in array, if you write it, it is going to give you undefined. Yeah, undefined, yeah, no issues. Now, the question I've given to you right now is just that I have this HTML. I want you to select all the element that matches the class name of heading 2 and just, log that onto the console. Documents.getElement by class. Yes. Heading 2 लिख दोगे. And what if I want to see the first element of that? How will you do it? Yes, obviously. But what if I have a certain different requirement now? I want you to do that, but I don't want to print it right away. I want to say that I will store it somewhere and then I will utilize that a little later. I want to store what you have selected through that document.getElement by ID. Is this possible? Yes, var x equals to object, but would you write object here or will you write something else? Yeah, I mean, it's basically you need to write an array only. It will just create it as a, you'll just need to write a variable name only. It will convert this as an array automatically. You don't need to, create an array and then put all these values into that. No need of doing it. Yes, exactly. I mean, you guys have given me the answer, right? I'm hoping that you have done that into the first module also. So not much of a, hand holding is required, although whatever is necessary, I've just discussed it. I'll say let element equals to document dot get element by ID. And I'll select maybe what? Heading 1. And I'm just going to duplicate it. I'll just say element 1, element 2, I'll do it like this way. 3. And I'm also going to change the IDs, right? I'm going to do it like 3, 2, and 3. I think that was it, right? Okay, only heading 2 was there and not heading 3. And this time, I also don't have it by a class name. I don't have it by ID, but I have it using class name. Yes, right? So I've just selected it. Let's quickly try to log the value of console. Let's quickly try to write the value of element 1. What will be the output this time, guys? It will just print the element that has heading 1 as the ID name. Very simple. Instead of writing this, whatever I write element 2, it will just print. Yes, exactly. It will just print the whole array. Just a minute. Can you see that? So this was the thing that we didn't execute it last time. Yeah. Can you see that? We have three values now. 3 elements this time. One is this. Let's see. One is this one. Second is this one. And the last one is this. Right? Is it visually clear, guys? Whatever I'm just trying to explain. I hope it is. Yeah. So just allow me a minute, right? I'll just share this poll because yeah, I'll show you the code. Just a minute. Great. In case this was making little bit sense only, you can vote for a yes. In case no, you can vote for the no. This is what I've done. Yeah, this is the code, guys. And don't worry about this method, right? You'll get idea about this as soon as you start writing it. And that's why I'm not focusing on the methods. It's just a temporary thing. Yeah, we can see the HTML trees generator Chrome extension, but what will happen in that case is that this add on too many nodes and things will start seeming like a little confusing way. Yeah, I can show you both. Yeah. Yes. I mean, see, when I told you this, right, it is going to give you a collection. I didn't told that, okay, this is directly an array. Although it's not technically correct to say that it is an array, right? Rather what it is just a collection. Both of them are looking exactly like the same way, but this is not technically an array. Yeah, we can use double quotes or single quotes, no issues at all. Where I've written single quote, you can write a double quote, no worries at all. Double quotes and single quotes could be used interchangeably in JavaScript at least. See, just a minute. See, it's still working. I'll even refresh it. Can you see exactly this the result, whatever was the result earlier last time? Yeah, get select. First of all, it's not get selector, it's query selector, right? Query selector and query selector, all that is yet to become, right? We'll discuss it. First of all, let's discuss this idea. Any problems till this point, guys? To anyone? Let's see what is the case with the voting. Okay, it is a little downgraded from the last time, but yeah, I think for the starting purpose, we are like decent over there also, not very much below, not very much behind, but yeah, this is the first step, right? So you understood, right, key what will happen in ID in case of an ID, or what will happen in case of a class name, right? What if I don't have any ID or class name? Just like this, I have certain elements h3, right? And let's do one thing. Let's keep it as h4 because yeah. So I have some, I didn't get the output like, yeah, I'm not focused about what is happening in the console. I'm just, telling you that there are three values now. It looks like an array to you, at least, yes or no. The first one is this, second one is this, and third one is this. All the selected elements that match this ID, that match this class name are there. If I have console logged. More about this, how it is coming up there, how can we utilize it? It is obviously a part of discussion that we will have ahead. Anything else? I'll even show you the first, second values like that also. 0. What happens? 0, 1, and 2. What if I write it this way? What is going to happen? Did I miss anything? No. Can you see this? All the elements are printed one by one. Now, is this making sense about the idea of this? All right, great. So this is about it, right? Let's quickly see that how can we select something which does not have an ID and does not have a class name, right? Selecting that is also very super simple. Yes. Let element 3 equals to document dot get elements by tag name. And then I select h3. Is it making sense why it will be elements also and not element? Swapnil, there's a little correction. It will be not Swapnils, but it will be elements. Multiple, exactly. That's why it does make sense to have elements and not element, because tag could be any number of tags, right? There could be any number of tags with h3 tag. There could be any number of elements with h3 tag. How will I console log it? As I'll console.log element 3. Does it make sense? And I'll comment out the first 3 ones. And I'll go to my screen, and this is how it is going to look like. Again, both of them are S3 elements and they looks like this. What if I wanted to select the first one? What should I do? As I was doing earlier, similarly, I should do now. And I've just selected the first heading. What if I do it one more time? Again, I'm able to, just a minute. Yeah, again, I'm able to see the second element also, right? Which is this H5. Heading 5, sorry. Right? Did it make sense about IDs, class name, and tag name? Same ID name भी just a second. Same ID name भी हो सकता है, sir. So many. No. This is not possible. Akash, I think you are not clear with your basics now. IDs can never be same. Right? IDs are meant to be unique, right? Your Aadhaar number could never be same to somebody else's Aadhaar number. Unless they are creating a fake Aadhaar. Right? So that's why IDs could be unique only. Yeah, IDs should be unique, in fact. That's why we are writing element only in the ID and elements in the, by class name and by tag name. Right? So that's the simplest discussion about it. I hope now no problems at all at this point. Right? Last wala is exactly the same, Arvind, that whatever we were discussing about class name, instead of selecting anything with class name, we'll select that using a tag name. And tag name will write over here. And since tag name could also be in multiple, multiple element could have same tag name. So that will again return an array to you. Right? It's exactly similar to class name. Instead of giving a class name, you'll give the name of the tag which you want to select it from. Sorry, which tag you want to select. All right. So that being said, right, can you tell me, guys, that what is this? Like, what is this H3 heading 4 and what is this H3 heading 5? Is this just a mere tag? Okay, let's do that also, because you guys are suggesting like what will happen if I write it this way. It will give you undefined, very simple. We have discussed that in the last class also, I hope. Right? If you in arrays you try to reach any value that is out of the bound, it will not throw error saying that it is out of the bound. Rather, it will give you undefined. Why is it so? We'll discuss it once we start discussing the arrays concept. Right? Can we move ahead? Or anything else you want to ask before that? Yeah, opening tag, closing tag, plus whatever we have written within tag is an HTML element, by the way. That is also part of the element. It's not only starting an empty tag, right? Starting an empty ending tag, whatever is written between that tag is also an element. DOM is medium through which we can, yes, in layman words, we can put it like this way. Writing to ID in the same name with same name also prints up. See, ideally in that case, if you have, yeah, I'll show you the code. Ideally in this case, if you have given two same IDs, right, in your code, again, HTML doesn't never give you any error. First of all, let's be clear with that. HTML would not work, or HTML would work in a different way, but HTML will never give you an error. Right? So in case you have given two IDs with the same name, right, what will happen is it will probably select the first ID and then it will go away. That's it. Right? But again, it will only select the first one element only. What if we don't know the length? How will you console? Just console log. Yeah, you can console log the whole array, and you can also, there is a method, right? Dot length, something like that. Every array has that. You can do it that way, or you can start on iterating on that. There are like a couple of ways on that. which we'll definitely discuss with the array. As we move it print both on screen. Okay, this should not happen first of all, and that is not a what do you say? That is not a valid case. So I told you, right? Either it will not work or it will work in a very strange way. So we don't talk about that case wherein something is not valid. Maybe you due to any bug or something, it might be printing both, but it should not print both. And you should never try to do it, right? I write one ID and utilize that ID a couple of times. You should never do it. Yes. So that's a very simple thing. And I know that things might be making some sense, but you might need some time to practice it. That's fairly cool. That's very obvious thing to have, right? So before giving you assignment and before giving you a quick break, I just wanted to discuss few more things, and then I can give you a 5-minute, 7-minute break, and then we can start building some things so that you will have a better clarity. How about this? That we should understand this thing. We should give you a little break, and then we should start building something on that, so that you will start answering and we'll definitely able to build something. Let's do it that way, right? Great. So what if you are now able to, you are now able to get any element in your screen, right? What if you don't want to only get the element, rather you also wanted to know what is written within that element, right? Because this is written as DOM element, DOM manipulation. I wanted to just say that I don't know what is written in my HTML. I only know my JavaScript file, and I know that there is an element with the ID of heading 1. I just wanted to know what is written in the heading 1 element. I just wanted to know that. How can I do it? Shubham says value. No, value we don't use. Sorry, value is used, but we don't use value for that. There are other ways we use value. Yeah, you guys are giving inner HTML. Yes, that proves the point that you know this already, right? Let's do it then. Instead of having this, let's print element. And one very interesting question I just wanted to ask that. Element 1, first of all, that what do you think is this element 1? Is this just a text, or is this also some sort of node, or is it also some sort of object? Obviously it is an object, right? Because I hope you remember the last line that I was discussing in the whole DOM guy introduction. That is, every single node that you will have, or every single element that you'll have in your page, is again a whole array in itself. Sorry, a whole object in itself. Yeah, that is good, but I mean that is something in other domain which I was saying, right, Shubham, is that I mean not every single text that you will write is object, right? Everything in an object means that everything that is not primitive type is an object, right? I think you misinterpreted that, but anyways. So what if that is an object? Object will obviously have some methods. So can I run dot inner HTML or inner text in that? Obviously I can run it, right? Because objects can access their property and their methods through a dot operator. So what if I write it? Can you see? It now says DOM manipulation. Isn't it good? That using JavaScript without looking at my HTML, I just got to know that what was actually written in my HTML, in my particular HTML element. Yes, is it good? I hope it is good. I'll just explain this one more situation to you now, that if I've written something like this, can I say behind my scene, something like this is happening, that I have an, I have this element of what? ELEM1, element number 1, and that might have certain property of inner HTML. And the value of that is what now? Currently, it has a value of DOM manipulation. This element 1 is an object now, and it has got certain properties. One of this property is inner HTML. And we have just printed it on a screen. Yes or no? You are creating person, right? Or student. Student has property of name. Name is assigned to ABC. So if we print student.innerHTML, what will it print? Sorry, student.name, what will it print? It will print the name. Yes or no? Yes. And that's why you can see this. What if I'll tell you that if you want to change the name of the student, how can you do it? You could write student.name equals to ABC ke badle. Now you want to do it as maybe XYZ. So you'll do XYZ, and will the name of student be changed? No, Swapnil, we don't write colon outside, right? Outside we write equals to only. If we are within inside of an object, right, then only we write colons. Right? So please correct that in the near coming future. Don't assume that is going to happen. Right? So let's do that over here, right? Let's see, can we also modify the content of that? Ideally, it should be, we should be able to modify it. Let's see if we are practically able to do that or not. I'm cutting it out and I'm just saying change using JS. Can you see this? Is it changed? Obviously it is changed, right? And how it is changed? It is changed using JavaScript. Can you see the changes? And trust me, I've not changed anything from the HTML. Have I changed anything from the HTML? No, I have not. And that's how we do it. And trust me, this is the simplest stuff that we have done. And we'll be doing some really crazy level stuff from that. Okay, there is one question. Is HTML inner HTML property or method? Okay, so Jagdish, inner HTML is basically a property, right? I told you properties are like some variables. Methods are functions. So does it sound like a function to you? No. So that's why it's not a method, it's a property. If it would have been a, what do you say, a method, you would have written something like this. Maybe something aisa kuch. Something like this you would have written. Just like this. Is get element by ID a method? Or is it a property? What do you think? Obviously it is a method, right? Because it is a function call. Again, it is also a method, it is also a method, but inner HTML is not a method, rather it is a property. No, guys, it's not method, it's property. I don't know. I don't think that I was saying this as a method. Did I address this as a method? No, right? Huh? That is a property. It's self-explanatory, no? Okay, I think you guys are answering about the get element. Yeah, got it. Cool. So I think you are clear with the property names and everything, right? So you are able to give this answer by yourself directly. Line number 11 क्यों लिखा है? Line number 11 I just ऐसे लिखा है. I mean, I was writing something else earlier. That's why. अभी इसको हटा सकते हैं. Right? So that is about it. And I hope there is no problem at all till this point. Any problem till this point? Not the only way. There are other ways also, but we'll look into it after the break. All right. So if there is any questions, quickly ask, and else I'm giving you 5 minutes ka break. Maybe 7 minute ka break karte hain, 7 minute ka break, and then we'll come back and we'll do 10 minute will be too much, right? Uske baad we will have to give you a break. Okay, maybe let's do a 10-minute break only, and after that I'll give you. Scrabble wala nahi hoga itna jaldi, Shubhangi. No, that is a different question. I told you, right? That require a. Yeah, I'll open up the code. मैं उसी में 10 minute का timer लगा दूंगा. Just a minute. Cannot search property. Okay, Kishan, for that, there could be two problems. One could be you would not have given the right ID here. ID का नाम सही नहीं दिया होगा. Second would be that yeah, dinner time take I'm giving you 10 minutes. Second thing would be या तो JavaScript attach नहीं किया होगा. By the way, I have had my dinner only, so no need. I mean, I don't need that time because I know that class के बीच में बहुत time होता है. So I just, as soon as I came, right, 7 paid dinner is ready only. So I just got it and then I started with the taking class. Yes. Yeah, it is confusing for the first time, right? Just it takes some time to understand. So no more talking, right? Let's give you a 10-minute break. After that, we'll take all of your queries. Chalo, you can have your lunch or something. All right. So yeah. So sorry, just got a little late. Yeah, time is over. Just a second, guys. Just a second. Great. So I hope you are there. I mean, you have. I hope you are still there. Great. So before the break, we discussed about. Sorry. Yeah, before the break, we discussed about selecting elements first of all, and then changing the content of that using inner HTML, right? So, any questions till that point? Just a minute. There is some discussion going on. Can we assign that and change that? Yep, I hope you guys have figured it out, right? Anything else you wanted to ask? Or can we move ahead? Yeah, can we assign element.inner HTML, just a second, to some variable and then change the inner text to some variable and then change the inner text. Acha, you want to say that this should be assigned? Acha, indirectly you can do it. I don't think that should be allowed. Can you answer the same discussion problem? What discussion problem? I didn't got you, Akshay. Can you elaborate? See, you are trying to say something like this, na? Ki, yeah, maybe A equals to element dot inner HTML, something like that. Element one dot inner HTML, like this. Like, why can't we change a variable when it's assigned? A equals to. Okay, like that. Okay, got it. That's why I was saying what you are trying to understand. See, it's basically right. I think okay, this is not discussed in this class. There is a particular thing. Yeah, I'm coming to that. See, there is a particular thing called as having a reference to that and just pass by value and pass by reference. I hope you have heard that term. Yes. So let me try to let me take a chance to explain that. Suppose I say something like this. Yeah. So what you are actually trying to say is that you are trying to say, what if I'll write something like this? Let me write it. Just a second. I got your point. I think this is what exactly you are wanting to, you're trying to ask. You just wanted to say that let content like this. Just give me a second, guys, right? This is a very interesting question that these guys have asked. What if I'll write something like this? Yeah. What if I write something like this and then I change content equals to maybe, content equals to something like this, right? This is what you wanted to ask, right? Or maybe element dot inner HTML bhi kar sakte hain. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that it is much more elaborated, right? I mean, I think this is what you are trying to ask. Can you quickly confirm? Yeah. So in this, what is happening is that this is exactly similar to saying this. What if I write let a equals to maybe let a equals to 10, and if I write b equals to a, sorry, b equals to a, and this is it exactly what I'm trying to do? I've just passed this value to a new variable, and I'm just, yeah. If I just write it this, what can you guess the output? I mean, it's pretty obvious, I know, but since this is a good discussion, can you tell me, right, what if I try to print the value of a and b, a comma b, what will be the output this time? Obviously, right, 10, 20. Why not 20, 20? You got the answer, right? Because b was being passed the value of a, but Now, if you change any value of B, is this impacting the value of A in any sense? No. Similar is almost happening over here, right? Consider this as your, A, and then you are changing A value to something else. Sorry, consider this as B. This is your A. I'm just writing it inside of this. I'm just writing. I mean, if I'll write it here only, consider this. I know I'm giving a very stupid example, but consider this line as this. This line is your line number 1, and this line is your B equals to A. Something like this. Right. So it basically is that you have copied the value of this into content variable, right? And now if you change the value of content, is this anyhow going to impact this original value? This is the answer. I mean, it is a very simple thing, but I think, you guys have put it in a very tricky manner. That's why it sounded like quite a different question, but it is very simple, very, very obvious it is, right? This is a separate variable altogether. This does not have any reference to that, to this whole document.inner HTML. That's why only it will change the value of this new variable, and it is not going to impact the original one. And this, in case, I mean, why I told this is a very interesting question is because we have a separate whole lecture dedicated to reference type and non-reference type or primitive type. In that, I'll tell you for sure that how does this deep copy, shallow copy works, and what happens if you try to copy any object. In that, we'll discuss this in a very depth manner, right? So don't worry, we'll have a proper class on that. Yeah, we are basically performing operation on a new variable, right? So how is this going to impact the original one? That is the whole crux of the situation. For those who have got it, it's really good. For those who have not got it, it's just was it was just out of a scope question for the minute, right? So yeah, that's it. Any other questions till this point, or can we start discussing more things? Original का ही change करना है तो we'll do it like this way normally, just like we were doing abhi. Yeah, we can move on, right? We should move on. Yeah. So we just got to know that how can you access values and how can you manipulate these values, right? This is one simple thing that we have done. Just take the content and just modify that content, right? Now we have certain other things to do also. What if, I want to modify the content. Okay, just a minute. We should see what is there for the class. I mean, basically we are going by intuition. DOM tree we have done, right? We have also done how can you read the DOM elements. Are you also clear with this second method, guys? That first thing is that how can you, what is this DOM tree and how can you traverse it? I hope this discussion is clear. We have already done it, right? Second discussion was around how can you read DOM elements? Reading DOM elements means that how can I read this change heading? How can I read this heading 1, heading 2, all these things? I have read it using what? DOM methods. See, Kishan, that is a very, although that is a very simple example, इतना एक मैं simple हिंदी में इसको समझाने की कोशिश करता हूँ. Question था कि मान लो मैंने document.innerHTML एलिमेंट को सिलेक्ट किया और उसका innerHTML को मैं नए वेरिएबल में डाल दिया, ठीक है? तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि मैं document.innerHTML को डायरेक्ट चेंज करने के बजाय दूसरे वेरिएबल को चेंज करूंगा, तो मेरा वो वेरिएबल क्यों नहीं चेंज हो रहा है? दिस वाज द क्वेश्चन, राइट? क्यों नहीं चेंज हो रहा है? ऑब्वियसली क्योंकि आपने इसकी वैल्यू जब नए वेरिएबल में चेंज करी, अगर आप नए वेरिएबल में कुछ डालोगे तो नए वेरिएबल का वैल्यू चेंज होगा ना, ओरिजिनल वैल्यू थोड़ी चेंज होगा. ये मेन डिस्कशन था, उसका मेन सिनेरियो ये था. Okay, scope of DOM variables. See, it totally depends on what type of variable you have chosen to declare, right? अगर आप उसको normally declare कर रहे हो तो obviously that will be global. If you are declaring that in any inside any function or inside any block, it is going to be a local scope only. I mean, throughout your whole page, all of these methods are available. Document को कहीं भी use करोगे, it will be available. तो क्या change होगा? Can you please? Yes, I will repeat it. देखो, I'll just repeat it with this simple example. I hope now things will be clear. I'm just saying that बाकी document को भूल जाओ, इतना याद रखो. If I'm passing value of maybe x to b a, right? And then I'm saying b equals to a. ठीक है, इतना समझो. In this case, what is happening is that ये a, ठीक है? So if I will anyhow change the value of b, is it going to impact the value of x? Yes or no? Or is it going to anyhow impact the value of a? No, right? Definitely not, because ये b की value change होगा, right? b would be 10,000, 8,000, anything like that. It is not going to change the value of a. That was the question. That came as a little tricky one, but simple question का सार यही था, question का निचोड़ यही था. हाँ, we are doing changes in the copy, and this is basically no reference. इसमें कोई reference थोड़ी है इसका. That if we change something to that, उसका original value भी change हो जाएगा. Something like that. Yeah, we are just passing by. We are just passing a copy of that. That's why it is not going to impact that. And guys, whosoever is not understanding this, don't worry. This is not the discussion that we needed right now. It just came on by like some random question, and that's why we discuss it. Yeah, let's move on. And what I was saying is that, sir, class B defined, but sir, B is not defined as anywhere. I just was trying to give you an an example, right? Obviously उसके आगे let var cons तो लिखोगे ना, just for the example I was telling you, right? All right, let's discuss it. And yeah, people are asking, sir, if the class 3 discussion is done or not. See, I think I've told you this in the last class also, that this class 3 ka the content is not was not needed to be discussed in the class 3, right? It will discuss it later. Last time we discussed it earlier because we had to discuss it because बहुत कम classes हुई थी and we had to have a contest. So that's why we forcefully pushed it. I mean, basically somewhere or the other we have done some methods on array, but major concept we are not done because बहुत out of discussion हो जाएगा. Last time also people faced problem because they were not clear about basic things, and we enforced all these difficult things to them. So that's why I'm not keeping this thing into this. This is not required here. We can do it after the class number 5. 4-5 हो जाने के बाद we will do it. Right? Cool. Coming back to the discussion, we have done reading the DOMs. Now, next thing is, how can you manipulate and access the page content? Manipulating and accessing the page content means that, suppose you have selected this element heading 2. How can you manipulate this? How can you change this? This is the scenario, right? And you have seen that, right? How can we change it? Just by writing inner HTML, right? So till this third point, we are done, right? We are done with this till third point. You can see there are other methods written also. Inner text is written, inner content is written, and inner HTML is written. Can you see this? So all of these 3 methods are doing almost the same stuff, right? Har cheezon, like using any of the 3 methods, you can change the same thing somehow or the other. Let me show you. If I'll change it to inner text, is it still going to perform the same output? Yes, it is still performing the same thing. It is a property. So sorry guys, I might be saying this as method sometime पे कभी-कभी मेरे से गलती से निकल रहा होगा, but this is a property, right? So sorry, right? Or inner content. अगर मैं ये property लगा दूंगा, what is going to happen? It is still the same thing, no changes, right? So then what is the difference, right? What is the difference between inner HTML, inner content, and inner text? There is a very minute difference, right? Yeah, spacing might have got changed. Yeah. Inner text is basically there to return the only text part. मान लो, if I've selected this DOM manipulation ka tag, right? And I wanted to say that this might also contain, let me show you this one simple thing. Things will be much more, things will make much more sense. Let's get it back to the normal position, and I'll just say this. And I'll add a block level, I'll add a B element here. Guys, again, this is an extra discussion that we can have, that we are having right now, not required, by the way. So if I'll select element 1, I hope you know what is element 1. Element 1 is just this first heading that we have selected. Can you see? The whole thing is getting selected, right? And just a minute, why this is not okay. Element 1 dot inner HTML, if I select it. Oh, okay, guys, समझ गया मैं, इस वजह से change हो रहा है. Just a second. Yeah. So this was something which was written earlier, right? DOM manipulation was written earlier. If I'll change element 1, can you see? This is good, but it also has a bold tag within inside it. Can you see this? Yes or no? Yes, everyone can see this, right? What if I'll write, please note this, this is important. If I'll write element 1 dot inner HTML, what can you see? Can you see the HTML tag is also appearing alongside with it? Yes or no? HTML is also there within. That's cool. That's really good. But what will happen that if I write inner text here? I hope it's self-explanatory. Now you are able to understand the difference, right? Inner HTML will also provide if there is any further HTML within inside that element. मान लो I've selected an element और उस element के अंदर भी elements है, उस elements के अंदर भी HTML tag है, so it will also give you that tags also. In case you don't want any further tags, you can use inner text. Basically, it is doing the same job, but there is a minor modification, right? These are the two differences, right? Basically, in most of the cases, we try to work with inner HTML, right? Because this has been a very common property to use, but you know the reason, right? You know the difference. In case somewhere or the other, you might only need to read the text, not the further elements, you can go for inner text. Now, the question arises is that if both of them are different, then how the hell is this inner content different than that, right? So inner content is nothing, but in case you have certain spacing, certain other formatting you have given in the text, right? You want that to be prevented, right? What do I want by what do I mean by that is you have something like, or maybe although you'll not have multiple spaces. Okay, for that I have to add like this way. I don't think colon will do it. No, colon I don't think will matter, but let's see. You have to give a proper like line break and something you might have, right? Element 1 dot inner content. Just a second. Content. What the hell is this? Text content or sorry, kya hota hai yaar? Dot text content, I think. Yeah, text content. This is going to give that, and if I write inner text, no, I told you, right? Ye nahi kaam karega. For that, we have something to give like iske andar. I'll just give me a minute. I'll show you that. Yeah, I can do that also, but let me write that inside it so that I can give you just a minute. I'm doing it to show you the differentiation. And if I'll write text content, can you see this? Can you see the difference, guys? Inner text is just going to give you the text that is written. Inner content will also give you the formatting. In case you have given line break and all these other things, extra spacing from start, extra spacing from end and all these things, it is going to give you that. But text content is very rarely used. That's why, it took me a couple of minutes to figure that out. Right? So majorly you could be using inner HTML or inner text, right? That is the visual difference. Yeah, I'll show you the difference. I mean, code is written directly there only. And see, guys, I told you na, dekho, last class may I've made thorough notes. Just a second. I'm damn sure that I've written it on the DOM class very properly. You can, by the time you can read it from there, just try to go on the DOM. Right, and just try to go with this script. No, on Node.js. Sorry, Node.js. And I am damn sure that we have written it. Yeah, this is where it is written. Inner text is going to give you what? Only text without any indentation or formatting, right? Yeah, I'll share the link just a minute. And inner HTML is just going to, yeah, in case there is any tag written within that, it will also be there. Let me show you this. I'll just share it right now. You can read. I mean, this has too many other content also, right? We are also discussing attribute and all these things. You can skip it for the minute, right? Because we have not reached there. But for the starting content, you can read, right? This whatever we were discussing, we have already discussed. You can read it till this point, because the main content of the class is going to be this around. We'll not go to adding elements and doing all these other stuff. Right? Does it make sense? About difference between three of them. मैं एक बार फटाफट हिंदी में क्लियर कर देता हूं उसको. Inner text means that कि अगर आपने किसी चीज को, yeah, DOM manipulation, yeah, सो इनर टेक्स्ट मीन्स दैट कि अगर आपको सिर्फ और सिर्फ टैग चाहिए, मान लो उसके अंदर कंटेंट लिखा हुआ है, आई मीन मान लो उसके अंदर फॉर्मेटिंग है, या फिर मान लो उसके अंदर और HTML के टैग लिखे हुए हैं, आपको वो सब नहीं चाहिए, सिर्फ टेक्स्ट चाहिए, तो इन केस में आप इनर टेक्स्ट यूज कर सकते हो। अगर आपको फॉर्मेटिंग से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, बट आपको साथ साथ कोई और टैग अगर उसके अंदर यूज हो रखे हैं वो भी चाहिए साथ साथ, तब आप इनर HTML यूज कर सकते हो। एंड यही दो जो मेथड्स हैं, सॉरी यही जो प्रॉपर्टीज हैं वही कॉमनली यूज होती है, राइट। बाकी टेक्स्ट कंटेंट क्या करता है, टेक्स्ट कंटेंट साथ में फॉर्मेटिंग भी देता है। मान लो आपने लाइन ब्रेक दिया हुआ है और चीजें दी हुई हैं, तो वो उसको भी कंसीडर करता है, राइट। करिकुलम डॉक ऑलरेडी शेयर है, बट स्टिल आई डोंट नो कितनी बार शेयर करना है, बट जस्ट अ मिनट मैं शेयर कर देता हूँ। एंड एज टोल्ड अर्लियर, इसमें बहुत सारे मॉडिफिकेशन होने बचे हैं। आई एम वेटिंग फॉर द वीकेंड टू अराइव, सो दैट आई वुड हैव दैट बैंडविड्थ कि मैं आराम से बैठ के इसको चेंज करूँ। But this weekend I'll definitely do it, and I'll make sure that every single class का एक in every point you'll get it from here, right? आपको और वो करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. You'll not have to search and everything. Every note and everything, topic by topic agenda will be there in the document sheet. Don't worry, right? So that is about the basic stuff, right? If everything in basic is sorted out, let's try to do something better now, right? Yeah, definitely it's like pretty jam packed, but yeah, what else we can do. Now let's start with a very quick simple project that we have to discuss now. Is that I wanted to make a simple counter app, and I don't want you to go and look out into the curriculum that I've shared, I mean into the code that I've shared, because might be the case that there you could find a counter app, because this is one of the simplest project that we make, right? So I want you to create a simple counter app, and we will create it live in the class, and I'll give you some time to think of the implementation, and I'll also give you some pretty simple hints, right? Try to make sure that you are doing it real time, because this is when you get to know that, okay, am I capable of creating something from scratch? If not, what am I missing? What steps am I missing, right? So let's quickly get it done. And I know that we'll not be able to create it fully because we don't know about events, we don't know about quite a lot of things, but we'll try to create as much as we can, right? So let's create it, and please open up your VS Code or whatever you would like to have. I'll quickly create, and we'll continue it, right? In this class, we have only learned about how can you change something from the screen, from the DOM. And once we know about events, we'll eventually add events to that also. Counter I've created, and I'll quickly add the basic boilerplate code. By the time I'm doing it and explaining, you can also create the folder on your system. And we'll also be utilizing the functions in this, right? Script.js. What's happening? Come on, why the auto suggestions are not coming up? Cool. All right, we have it. All right, great. And I want to have a 0 button here, and I just want to have a 0, right? I don't want to have buttons and then I'll click on this and something will happen, because for that we need to understand about events. Let's only say that I'll have a 0 here, and I will manually run a function. And as soon as I run the function, whatever value is there currently on the screen, that should got picked up and value will be incremented. That's it. Whenever I run a function, the current value from the screen should be read, and that should be incremented. Right? Does that sound easy? Does that sound doable? Yes. So I'm giving you, I'm just giving you, first of all, I'll explain what steps you could take, right? And then I'll give you 3 to 4 minutes to write that code and to come up with an implementation, right? So what is the first thing that comes up to your mind? Let me also create a span element around it. Yeah. So first thing that you can, guys and girls, please listen to this very carefully, because then it's your turn to do it, right? Not to run the loops and everything. कुछ loop वो करने की जरूरत नहीं है, बहुत simple है. It's pretty damn simple, right? What you have to do is that first of all you have to go to the script file, right? इसमें जाके you can just select this span element. पहले आपको select span element select करना, right? First thing is to select the span element. Once the span element is selected, what would you do is you would read what is written in the span element. What is written in the span element, guys? Span elements. It's written as 0, right? You now have the number what is there on the screen, right? What can you do is you can simply take the value and increment it by 1. Say value plus plus. Although it is not going to be that simple, right? There will be some challenges which you will understand, right, as soon as you start doing it. But पहले आपको value collect करना है, and then you have to just plus it. And once you have incremented the value, you also change it. You also have to change it back to the screen. तीन काम है. First काम is first of all reading the value. Second value is incrementing it. Third value is just changing it back to the original screen. Changing it back to the screen. Other steps like making this clear? You would say, sir, how will we change it like quite a lot of time? ये तो एक ही बार change होगा. I know that एक ही बार change होगा, but we will modularize it. We'll write that into the function name also. Okay, we have the implementation from Akshay's directly, right? He got it and seems correct to me. We have got the score. We have implemented the score, and yep, that's done. Yep, it's it. That's it. This is it, right? Right. So ये simple था, but I think अब तो सबने देख लिया, अब तो सब कर ही लोगे. But just don't look at this solution. Let's try to do it, right? And try to see what at particular point you are getting stuck, because बहुत simple step है. It is a very simple task that I've given you. नहीं, function की तो कोई जरूरत ही नहीं है. Simple आप नहीं, function मतलब inbuilt functions की जरूरत है. वैसे कोई function का तो ज्यादा कुछ लोचा है ही नहीं. Okay, we can, yeah, we know that count arrow functions, Bhavika, that's really good, but try to do it with the simplest possible approach. Then we will add events, and then we'll add too many other things into this also, right? And like, is it doable, guys? Because 2 or 3 people will definitely say it's doable. Let me launch a poll, because I just wanted to know that at what stage you guys are into right now. Because sometimes people are not comfortable admitting that into the lives, into the, among everyone. So I've just given this to you, that can you read the number from the screen? Please listen to the instruction. Can you read the number from screen? Can you increment it, and can you then update it back to the screen, the incremented number? Is this doable? If yes, you can hit for a yes. Else, you know that okay. Too many, the number is too low. Anyways, it happens, right? For the starting, at least, this happens, that that karna to aise, but you don't know will this actually happen or not. We may code सब हटा देता हूँ वापस से, इसकी जरूरत है नहीं. Let's do it then. Let's start doing it, and please keep 100% attention over here, guys, because step by step करेंगे. And in the first go, it might not look like a proper counter to you, but in quite some time, it will definitely look like a counter. So what I will do in my JavaScript file is, first of all, I'll select the counter. How will I select the counter? Let counter equals to, what should I do? Can you help me out? Just a minute. Can you help me out with selecting the span element from there, guys? Very simple it is. Yeah, document dot get element by ID कर सकते हो, tag कर सकते हो. Let's do it by tag name, because we don't have given any ID to that. And I'll write, what is that? Span. And I also need to write 0 over here, right? Because else I'll get the whole array. I don't want to do operations on array only. I want to do the operation on the first element only. Yes. So once I've done it, right, what should I do next is, I should do counter, let value equals to what? How can I read this element ka number? Let me show you what is a value of counter, first of all. If I'll print counter, this is also printing the elements, right? So should I also update the elements? The tags? No, I should not update the elements, right? I should only get the tag. I should only get the whatever is written between that. So I can get it using let value equals to counter dot inner HTML. Once that is done, what should I do next? Very simply, I could do value plus plus. What should I do next? Value plus plus ho gaya, then updating it back to the screen. How can I update it back to the screen? Very simple. I could write counter dot inner HTML and then अच्छा एक प्रॉब्लम आएगा वी शुड बी डूइंग इट प्री इंक्रीमेंट ना पहले अपडेट करके फिर स्टोर करना पड़ेगा वी शुड हैव टू डू इट दिस वे आई होप यू नो द रीजन राइट प्री इंक्रीमेंट एंड पोस्ट इंक्रीमेंट पहले इंक्रीमेंट एंड देन स्टोर इट this is what I wanted to do so that's why as soon as I do this and if I reload the page it is going to be 1 why is it 1 because earlier it was 0 and now it is 1. You might say that is good, but you know that is not a modular approach. That is not a good approach to do. आप सिर्फ max to max 1 बना सकते हो उसको, right? So how can you make sure that every time you run the function, this thing will happen? नहीं, loop लगा के कोई sense थोड़ी है, वो तो बार बार non-stop चलता रहेगा. You want to say that whenever we run the function, जब भी मैं function को run करूँ, तभी value update होनी चाहिए. The value should update only until I run the function, not automatically. I can do it very simply like this. I can call this as a function, increment. I can just put the whole damn thing inside a body of the function, right? My function is done, right? What can I do is, it is coming as 0 now. If I run the function, my function name is increment. Yeah. If I run this function, what is going to happen? It is updated to 1. If I run this again, can you see this on the right hand side? Sorry, on the left hand side. Is my numbers getting updated? And is it only getting updated when I run the function? Yes, it is getting only updated when I run the function. So is it any rocket science? कुछ ज़्यादा ही तोड़ू काम किया इसमें हमने? No, we have not done any like super rocket science level stuff. This was very simple stuff. And we have only utilized the knowledge of whatever we already know, right? We already know how to read elements, how to update elements. We also already know how to increment values. And then we did it what? We just added a wrapper of function outside it and that's it. And that's done. Yes, Lokesh, I told you, right? If you are using such things like get element by tag, elements by tag name, get elements by class name and all, in that in every time it is going to return a collection and you cannot utilize it unless and until you have specified 0. फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि एक ही value उसके अंदर है, there are too many other values in that, right? So every time you have to use the 0 thing next basically. 2x is the first value, right? So is this clear to everyone? Can I say this very confidently that each and every single one of you is now capable of reading what is there in the screen and then modifying it back to the screen, like, and also modifying whatever is written on the screen? Yes or no? All right, that's really good. That's really cool. Value of the count will go to 0. Very simple. See, your whole JavaScript will load from starting now, then it will get 0. Now, I have a little different challenge for you now, right? Let's see who can do this. What if I don't have it here, but I have it here inside a but I have it within inside this, like inside an input tag. And I want to make sure that whenever you run the function, this value should get updated. What do you think will happen? Will this function still run? No. Akshay says no, it will not run. Now people will like bhed चाल में सब बोल देंगे नहीं run करेगा. Why it will not run? Any particular reason? See, I'm also going to ask you the reason, right? So please make sure that. Okay, Supriya also knows this. See, for the people who didn't get it, एक बार चला के देखते हैं, right? Let's run it. Is it working? Nah, it's not working. And it is in fact giving any error saying that cannot read properties of undefined something. right? So what the hell is this, right? What is the hell of, this stuff is that what is inner HTML and what is inner text? Inner HTML and inner text means that if we had a tag and in between the tag, we had certain information. Abhi tak kya ho raha tha? That we had the tag and we have information within the tags, isn't it? We had a span tag and we had this number within what? We had the number between the tag. Tag ke beech mein number tha na? So we can utilize this inner HTML and inner text property on search tag which has opening and closing tag and information is within the tags. This is the limitation of using these properties, right? Is it making sense? Yes or no? To other people also? Now, you know how does this input tag works, right? Do we use it this way? हम इसको ऐसे लिखते हैं क्या? And इसके अंदर बीच में zero आता है क्या? Yes or no? No, it doesn't work like this way. So that's why this inner HTML and inner text will not be applicable over here, right? So this property is not going to work in that case. So what is going to work in that case? In that case, you know, there is a property called as value of this tag, right? So you have to utilize this value tag here. Sorry, this value property over here. Right? So that's why as these people were suggesting, what we should do is, just a second, what we should do is instead of having that, where is it? Yeah. Instead of writing counter.inner HTML, we should rather write counter.value, right? And we should also change it to counter.value. Again, the name could be similar. So maybe we can say just this as V. So to avoid the confusion. And if I do this, oops, just a second. Oh, acha, span element we changed. We should change it back to input. Yeah. And if I run this increment, is it working, guys? Can you confirm? Yes, it is working, right? I know, you know, there could be certain problems you might have faced. So for the minute, I'll just open up the code side by side, right? And just try to absorb what was the problem right time. The last time the problem was, it was written something like this. Oops. It was written something like this, right? In this inner HTML or inner tag means that this was tag, this was HTML or whatsoever it is, right? Iske beech mein the value was written and we just have to read the value within the tag, from the tag, right? And this time, is the value written between any opening and closing tag? No, it is not. I hope it is making sense to everyone कि हमने inner HTML और inner वो क्यों हटा दिया यहाँ पे, right? Because forms के case में, whenever we work with form, it's a general perception that forms के बीच में value नहीं लिखी होती है, right? Form has a value attribute which tells us that what value does this contain. So please be mindful from the next time that whenever you are working with forms, don't try to use inner HTML or inner text or inner content. Try to use dot value in that case, right? So that is one of the other ways of doing it. Again, there could be too many other things we can do. We can work with drop down menu. We can work with text area and all these things, but let's not go over there. Let's continue with the DOM manipulation first of all. Let's see how we can add elements or how we can remove elements and all these other things. And then we can, move ahead with the, remaining, remaining topic of the class. And then in the next class, we can take the events ka concept and we can actually implement, click on the button. And as soon as you click on the button, the counter will automatically increment. You don't have to explicitly run that using the function. Right? Okay. Now I think we all are clear with this discussion. In case you are not clear, do let me know, guys, because I'm assuming the best case scenario that few people are saying yes, yes, yes. That means samajh mein aa gaya hoga. And also, see, what happens in most of the cases is that I've been explaining some similar kind of stuff in Acure jobs, in some other places also, and different other places. So I assume that okay, this is very common. So sometimes I take this for granted also. Again, I don't do it on purpose. I don't do it very frequently, but kabhi kabhi ho jata, right? When I'm tired or when I had a long day, sometime or the other kuch hota hai aisa. So please try to make sure that आप अपने साइड से उसको चेक में रखो. In case I explain any topic in very short time, try to make sure that आप उसको पूछ लो एक बार. Okay, that's good. I'll explain it. I'll repeat it one more time. स्वप्निल देखो, or to everyone, I hope you know this कि अभी ये टैग के बीच में नहीं आ रही है वैल्यू, राइट? ये 0 1 2 3 इसके बीच में नहीं आता है जब आप इनपुट एलिमेंट लिखते हो, राइट? सो अब आप वैल्यू कैसे उठाओगे? इनर एचटीएमएल क्या करता है? इनर एज द नेम सजेस्ट, उसके बीच का एलिमेंट उठाता है, उसके बीच की वैल्यू उठाता है, एंड देन वो आपको रिटर्न कर देता है, राइट? बट इनपुट में तो उसके बीच कुछ होता ही नहीं. यू डोंट हैव स्टार्टिंग एंड यू डोंट हैव, हाँ, उसके बीच में कंटेंट थोड़ी होता है कुछ. So in that case, every time you have to use value, and that's a thumb rule that whenever you are working with forms के अंदर you never use inner HTML, you never use inner text or inner content, anything like that, text content. You always use dot value. Dot value, assume this as a alternative of using inner HTML, right? इस element का value क्या है? What is the value of that element, right? Cool. I hope now everyone got it. Chalo. Moving ahead, right? What we have in the plate today is we also have the, just a second. We also have to discuss that, how can you dynamically add and remove content from the page? What do I mean by that is that, ki maan lo, I had certain elements on the page. I suddenly want to add another element saying that, element the counter updated. मैं यहाँ पे एक heading add करना चाहता हूँ इसके नीचे. That element added to the screen. Something like this. Is this possible till this point? Already written content को हम change कर सकते हैं. We can change the already written content till this point. Can we also add a new content through the JavaScript? Like, can I add an image element? Can I add something else? Increment is not defined. Maybe the name of the function you might not have written. You might not have included with this, just like I've done here. Or maybe the function call you're doing does not match the name of your function. Something like that could be the problem. Right? I hope you are trying to understand the scenario right now. The scenario abhi ye hai ki we cannot create anything. Abhi tak ke liye, we have not created anything and then placed it on the page. We are only changing or we are only modifying the already written content of the page. जो already लिखा हुआ उसी को change कर पा रहे हैं ना, कुछ अलग से थोड़ी लिख पा रहे हैं, कुछ अलग से थोड़ी create कर पा रहे हैं, right? Yes. So now the next discussion is going to be around that how can we create some elements through the JavaScript and then place it on the page, right? Let's do it then. What if I want to create a heading element and add it to the page? Can I do it? Obviously I can, but how can I do it? The answer to that is I simply use one method, and that method is create element. And I hope you've seen this. Dekho, we have done things into step-by-step manner. Dekho, yahan pe dekho. First thing we did it was selecting any elements by, first thing is accessing elements from the DOM tree. This is the method number one. Step number one. हमने सबसे पहले step किया कि कुछ भी उठा सकते हो. We can read anything from the page. Step one completed. Step two is what? Modifying anything from the DOM page. If you have selected anything, the next thing that comes up to your mind is, chalo, I have selected anything. Now I need to modify that. For modifying what methods we have the simple method of inner text, of inner HTML, of text content. That was also super clear to you, right? Third thing is basically, if you have selected anything, if you have modified anything, third thing could be if you can add something to the page of your own choice, creating a new element, right? Which is this third area we are in. We are in the third stage of this DOM manipulation. And for that, you only have to learn one method. You only have to keep in mind one simple method, that is create element, right? जैसे ही आप create element लिखोगे, right? This is just a method that is provided in document for you. As soon as you write this, what is going to happen is that whatever value, whatever element you'll write in the bracket, वही element आपका create हो जाएगा. Is it making sense? Let's do that. I'll do it here on the, yeah, I'll do it here. First of all, I'll say let maybe let's add a list item, or maybe we can start with anything. Maybe division से काम कर लेते हैं यार, कोई छोटा सा एलिमेंट बना लेते हैं. I'll say division equals to document dot create element, yes, and I'll write div inside it. What if I write this? What is going to happen if I print the value of div? Can you see that? That is there on the screen. I mean, that is there. The new div is created. Now, this is a good question, Sapnil, that what is the place of that element, right? Where will that element get placed? That is, I'll just talk within a minute, right? But before that, let's focus on that, right? How can you create elements? What if I wanted to create maybe a different element, and this time I don't want to create a division element, and this time I want to create a span element? Let ELE लिख लेता हूँ. I'll just say ELE and I'll say document dot create element. And this time I'll write span. What will happen? बहुत simple. I just replace it with span and try to log ELE and you'll have a span element. That's it. Is it making sense? Very, very simple. Very, very obvious it is. उस element का नाम रखो and वो वहाँ पे आ जाएगा. Very simple, right? Now comes the interesting discussion is that the element is there, the division is there. This does not contain any element. This does not contain anything. अगर आप इस division को screen के अंदर place करोगे, if you are going to place an empty division on the screen, is this going to print anything? Is this going to have anything, any addition to the page? इससे page में कुछ फायदा होगा क्या? Obviously not, right? What will happen if you place an empty division? So before placing any division, span element, image element, or anything on the page, you have to populate it, right? इसके अंदर value भरना पड़ेगा. It's just that you have created the, I'm sure that you have eaten all these, Kathi rolls and everything, right? आपने rolls तो ले लिया, but unless and until you feel something within inside it and you'll wrap it, it will not be filling, right? वो आपको filling बनाना है तो उसके अंदर कुछ wrap करना पड़ेगा. You have to fill it with some content and then show it or then give it to the customer, right? So now the second step is how can you actually fill value inside it? Now here is something which we have already done. Let's see who can answer this. How can we add something to any element, right? Is element ke andar I have to populate anything? No. Append is to place it on the page, right? It's basically, yeah, inner text and inner HTML, right? I've got the element for you. You only have to fill it. इसके अंदर आपको value fill करना है. How can you fill it? I can fill it just by writing ELE dot inner HTML equals to added using JS. Now, if I read the ELE now, can you see this? Now this contains a message for me. Isn't this cool? Obviously it is cool, right? Yes, it's COOLOL, cool, right? So now again, we are not added it to the page anyway, right? Div में add करना तो वही simple है. Division को select करो, division के अंदर डाल दो. Very simple. देखो guys, I would say कि, if you are attending the classes, also try to replicate the things, right? Because I'm not saying कि, you guys are not paying attention. I'm not saying that. I'm saying is because whenever I speak something or whenever, anyone try to explain you anything, you'll get 100% out of it as soon as you start writing it, right? You'll eventually understand, Acha, I was missing that, or this is something else I can do. Anyways, so division dot inner HTML added dynamically. And if I see division now, it is doing that. And in no sense I'm saying कि सिर्फ division लिखने से आप division select कर लेते, right? By the chance we have given this a variable name which is exactly matching the tag name, right? आप कुछ भी लिखो, आप ABCD लिख दो, you will write your name or whatever variable you'll name, it will still represent a division, right? Now we have created both the elements and both the elements looks perfectly fine to us, right? बराबर लग रहे हैं, but the problem is that we have to add it on the page, which we have not done till this point, right? So should we start doing it? Should we start adding it to the page? I think we should start doing it, right? Let's do it then. So how would we do it is very simple, right? We will do it using something called as class देने की क्या जरूरत है? It's very simple. There is one simple method. And guys, I'm just giving you simple by the end of this DOM manipulation, you'll only have maybe 10 to 12 methods, which you have to remember. 10 या 12 methods or property होंगी. Through using this 10 or 12 properties and method, you can do all the DOM manipulation stuff. Right? All right. Let's do it then. Where I have to place it? I have to place it on body. Yes or no? Right? So how will I do that is I'll just write document dot append, and append is basically a method which will add the following content to the page, right? And what I wanted to append, I wanted to append a division. Just a minute. I think not on the document, but on the body, right? So I have to write document dot body dot append. Document is a master object, right? Document में कैसे append करोगे? Document के body में append करना है. And then I'll write division. And can you see this? Is it added to the page? Yes, right? So that's how you do it, right? That's how anything is added. What if you also want to add the span? Can you add the span? We'll come to that, Kunal. We'll also add colors, and I think someone was also asking about images and everything. I'll also come to that, right? Let's do it step by step. Right? All right, so that is done, right? Let's also quickly do how we can append the different the other stuff. Yeah, again, one more thing, which you guys might be confused about is that why I have written document.body, right? It's very obvious because you wanted to add that to the body, right? Pure document में add करोगे तो होगा नहीं पहली बात, right? So you can select body using any other method, or you can directly write document.body, right? ये div in span HTML में भी add हो रहा है क्या? See, HTML के अंदर ही you have body ना. Body is what? Body is HTML का body only. या तो आप एक काम ऐसे कर लो. You can do it like this way. Just a minute. You can say document dot get element by ID by tag name, and यहाँ पे आप body को select कर लो पहले, right? ऐसे body को select कर लो, and in fact इसके आगे 0 लगा के, क्योंकि tag से select किया आपने, ऐसे select कर लो, तो now you have got the whole body, right? Inside body you can do this. Let body equals to this, and then body dot append division, right? No, it will not be visible on the VS Code. This is just the temporary stuff, right? I'm writing it right away because this is where I write one line and you see the output happening. That's why this is more interactive way of doing it. VS Code maybe I'll write it, don't worry. Right? See, just don't worry about each and every single line, because I'll keep on explaining. I'll write some fishy lines. Just understand the end goal. End goal is basically आपको वो चीज रखनी है where you want to add that, and then you have to pass the value which you want to add, right? And we wanted to add that on body, so we have written body dot append, and what we wanted to add, we wanted to add the division, so that's why we have added it. Append, yeah, obviously append adds to the last always, right? जहां पे जिसको आपने select किया उसके last में उसको append कर देगा. Your queries will obviously be like, sir, I wanted to add in the middle, I wanted to add on the top, on anything, something like that. इसको कैसे add करो? बहुत सिंपल तरीका एक मैं बताता हूं आपको, right? You don't need to worry about first child, last child, ये करने की जरूरत नहीं है. These are more complex way of writing it. Simplest way is, अगर आपको बीच में add करना है, give me scenarios and I'll give you the solution to that using this append method only. सिर्फ इस append method से I'll give you all the possible ways of placing it anywhere in your page. Assume you have H1, then you have maybe this is a place where you want to append it, then you have H2. If this is where you want to append it, can you append it? Can you append it over here? Obviously you can, right? H1 लिखो, H1 में append कर दो, H1 के बाद append कर दो, right? Everything is possible, just that you have to find a way around it. How to add span within the division? Obviously, select the division now and then append it inside the division, right? Okay, I think someone was also asking how can we center it, right? Just a second. Center this division, right? So in case you want to center it, right? Centering and all these things, or maybe someone was also asking, sir, color the division, right? This is what I think one of the queries, right? So for that, you have to write the CSS to the division. And can you give CSS to the division also to any element using JavaScript? Does that sound doable? Should that be available? Obviously, that should be available. नहीं, I'm just asking कि क्या लगता है होना चाहिए कि नहीं होना चाहिए JavaScript से module possible? Yes, obviously होना चाहिए, right? So that is also part of the curriculum, right? We'll tell you that how can you add the styles to that? How can you, what else is possible? Let's see. I've written it over here. Yeah, dynamically adding content, though we have already done. How can you alter the attributes, right? Someone was also asking कि sir उसमें image का attribute कैसे लगाएंगे? That is also a part of discussion. How can you change the styles of any element, or how can you read what is the style of the element, and what are events and event listed? Everything is also planned, right? सर कोड में क्यों चेंज हो रहा है? कौन से कोड में चेंज हो रहा है? सी टेम्परेरी बेसिस में तो कोड में चेंज होगा ही ना. If you'll reload the page, it will go away. See, it just went away. Right? So basically this is some simple methods, and how can you add dynamic content, and then how can you place it on the page, right? Any questions about adding dynamic content and all these things till this point? See, why is it not visible on VS? Because we have not written it on VS Code, na? Is it, see, when I say that ki JavaScript ki madad se just see, I got your point. I think you are saying that I've written the same code. See, I think this is what you wanted to say, that I've written all this thing like get create element and then add it on the page. See, guys, this is very common sense. First of all, आपने JavaScript से लिखा तो JavaScript will render it on the website, right? JavaScript VS Code के अंदर घुस के थोड़ी change कर देगा उसको. Pretty obvious stuff, right? JavaScript will not change the original code, right? JavaScript will do the modification and then push it to the page. कि आपने नया element change करना ना, लो, this is the new element that you wanted to have. Right? I mean, it might sound a little confusing, but it happens, right? If you have been continuing, go 2.5 घंटे करीब होगा, right? It's been 2.5 hours into the class. It happens at the end time, right? मेरे साथ भी होता है. Also keep on messing up some things around the end time. This happens. They're totally normal. But the main thing is that try to think of for a minute or try to implement it, and then things will get cleared out. Still nahi ho raha, you can just ask that into the class. Just a second. We are manipulating the DOM with JS and not. Yes, exactly. VS Code say thodi we are manipulating it. We are manipulating it using DOM. Yeah, I can repeat. Repeat just a minute. How to traverse HTML table. HTML table को traverse करना as in I didn't got it. Table को like, can you elaborate like what do you actually want to do? Get the table content. Very simple. Like मान लो you just have to select the table. Yeah. Table select करके I mean there could be two things. या तो आपको कोई particular table का row select करना है. That's the first thing. Second thing would be if you wanted to select the whole table, right? So whole table के लिए you can first of all write the generic one. अच्छा, there could be workaround with that. Let me show you that. Again, आपको शायद confusing लगेगा. Just one simple example I'll give you. I'll not go into the depth. Just a simple example because this is some of the queries and this sounds to be like seems like quite interesting stuff to do. So let me show you that. I've written a table and I've written maybe tr table row, the tr होता है, yes, then td, and then I'll write 1 2 something like this, right? And then I'll replicate the same thing over and over again. It will include, yeah, it will include loops also. Why it will include loops is that, okay, there is one thing कि अगर आपने okay, now things will get interesting. कि how would you know how many rows it has got? Okay, got it. हो जाएगा, no problems at all. We know you can select let table equals to, just a minute guys. Again, I think थोड़ा सा complicated होगा, but let me do that. Document.get element by tag name, we can get that table, right? Once we have got the table, once we have got the table, now see what I'm suggesting is that why don't you get the TR, right? आप सारे TR को पकड़ लो, then try to just see what is the length of the table. I mean, just how many TR we have got over here, right? In this time, how many TR we will get? 2, right? So can you not iterate over each and every TR and then uske TD को print कर सकते हो? Can you not do that? Yes or no? We can, right? This is the workaround that how can you read all the elements of the table. And that is in fact a very good question that you guys have asked. We will keep that for the next class for sure. Us class mein, once we know the elements, once we know the events, once we know how we can also read the styles, we can definitely do this question that how can you, for each to bhi zyada ho jayega, we have not discussed for each now. We can add some question like this wherein you have to dynamically populate a table, right? Because if we start doing it right now, trust me, thoda sa zyada complicate ho jayega. And we are at the end game, right? We are at the past 2.5 hours, and this is a crucial time where most of your attention span is lost. So yeah, I know this is abhi se overload. That's why I'm thinking of to like conclude it in this like till now only, because DOM manipulation, to be very honest, it's a little tough task to understand in the very first go. So I would suggest you have got the whole weekend. Just try to practice this thing around how can you access the content, how can you, yeah, I'm just thinking to conclude it right now, because post this I don't feel anything easy peasy that we can cover. Obviously we can cover style ko kaise change kar sakte hain, we can cover how can you just a second, how can you change the attribute also, but I don't think that will be more beneficial because things might go out of your head. This is what I don't want to do. No, tomorrow we don't have. Yeah, that is why I'm saying, right, कि उससे ज़्यादा करेंगे तो बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाएगा, right? So doing alteration and all these things is not is not a good thing. I'll suggest all of you to please go through the recordings one more time and try to please manipulate or replicate the same thing that we were doing. चाहे कितना भी आता हो, just try to replicate it, because this is what will eventually make things much more clear to you. And do note your doubts in case you are having any. Sorry, in case you are getting stuck at any point or you have your alternate approach, do note it down and we'll definitely discuss in the upcoming class. And see, as far as I know from the last text is that DSA type questions nahi honge. You'll just have to do some website based questions, something like you have been doing in HTML, CSS. Similar to that, we'll have the questions, and that will be around the concept that we have discussed only, right? Nothing much more than that, right? All right. So yes, class is over, right? That's all I have to share. Okay, I think it's 2056 kuch to hai, but I'll share this on the Discord. Then you can see my ID, right? In F2, you would find it with Rit Suteri. This is something I'm not very sure, but yahi hai, I think. Hash 2056. If this is, I remember correctly, this is something like that. And yeah, about the assignment questions, right? See, I've escalated the doubt. They're again saying that, we are on it. We are working on this. We'll get this resolved very super soon. Uncaught type cannot read properties of undefined value. See, that could be because maybe you might not have, the element ka spelling could be wrong or something wrong could be there at the line number 4 and 15. Just this is a hint, right? Just try to see what is there in the line number 4. You might have done a typo or something over there. Right. So basically that's it for the class. That's it for today's class. I don't have anything else. Yeah, we can leave. I'm just, taking the questions these guys are having. In case you want to, be part of the question discussion, I mean, the doubt discussion, you can stay. Else the content is done for the class. Sir, console पे मैंने function चलाया तो मेरे increment नहीं चल रहा, counter increment function let counter equals to by id c equals to plus plus c. काउंटर में यू हैव गिवन एन इनपुट ओनली ना. अगर इनपुट लिया तो देखो, इनपुट में डाला है तो यू हैव टू राइट वैल्यू. अगर आपने स्पैन में डाला है तो देन यू हैव टू राइट इनर एचटीएमएल. आई थिंक इट शुड वर्क. For that, I think I have to look at your code properly, because JavaScript codes to look very simple to me, to be very honest. There could be minor issues. Just try to read what is the error, guys. See, if you are a developer or if you want to become a developer, you should be able to read the errors properly, right? Try to read what is there in the error, and errors give you the hint most of the time. What are you missing? So you have explained all this complicated stuff in a very. That's really good to hear that you guys have got it. Span में डाला है, screen share करूँ? Yeah, sure. Sure. You can share the screen. For that, I think you have to ask for the permission. कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा. Just a second. Yeah, any other questions, guys? If you have got, please keep on sharing it. I just realized that all this time I was just showing like this way. Anyways, I have to get my setup done over here also. It's really frustrating to take the classes from bed. Yeah, go on. See, Shubhangi, INC लिखा तो है, but INC को invoke भी तो करना पड़ेगा. You have to write parenthesis. Pretty simple. Done. INC is not defined. Maybe वहाँ पे नहीं लिखा है. Just go to your code once. INC ये लिंक नहीं है. I think just check your HTML. Check your HTML. Okay, link तो है ही. I think it's script.js. script.js. Just go back to the file. Oh, come on. No, एक second. Counter equals to this. You have selected by ID. You have given it an ID only, na? कि class दिया है. Just check it once. ID equals to count. Just go back. INC. It is giving error that INC is not defined, na? I think only problem is it is it live? I mean, is it open with the live server? Live server से open है क्या? Just let's do one thing. उधर ही just try to invoke INC एक बार तो. Okay, you guys take the class from the portal directly, क्या? No, in the script file. हाँ, VS Code में. Yes, exactly. Try to format your code first of all. एक suggestion मैं ये भी देता हूँ. Just press Alt Shift F in this. Alt Shift F press करो इसमें. Yes, configure. prettier you can select. उसी पे select कर दो. Just selected. Yes. See, this makes it look much more nicer, right? चलो कोई नहीं. Just write INC in the line number 8 and invoke it. Hit enter INC. Yep, go on. Invoke. Yep, go back. Yeah, it's working. Yep, it's working. See, 1 से 2 हो गया है. That's it. Sir to HR BR. हर बार. No, see, it's just the native way of writing, right? हमने बहुत see. This is what I'm saying, right? कि we don't know about events, right? Events हमें अभी पता ही नहीं है. So that's why we have chosen this way. जब event समझ में आ जाएगा अपने को, then we'll definitely add buttons and उस पे we'll do it that way. Right? Got it? Cool. Any other queries? Alt Shift F. मैंने क्यों नहीं करा? बिकॉज आई डोंट नो, मे बी क्या प्रॉब्लम हुआ था तुम्हारे में. आई मीन वी जस्ट ट्राइड इट एंड वो चल गया. मे बी शायद रीलोड नहीं हुआ होगा. कुड बी द रीजन. आई दिस इज द ओनली रीजन आई कुड एक्सपेक्ट. बाकी कोड में देयर वाज नो एरर, राइट? ट्रस्ट मी, कोड बिल्कुल सही था अपना. some minor thing you might have missed. I'm not sure what. Or maybe reload में issue हुआ होगा. You must, I mean, we could have reloaded it. कई बार it happens. So can I share? Yeah, you can also share your screen. Yeah, it's, I told you, right? Even if you watch, even if you like keep on doing JavaScript for like 3-4 years only, right, you'll still not be proficient with JavaScript. You'll still have quite a lot things to learn in JavaScript. Go on. Yeah. So is it not working? Can you show your console window? And what is this? Why have you written script? Anyways, Control Shift I, press Control Shift I, please. Yeah. Hit enter. Cannot read properties of undefined at line number 417. Just go back to the browser, VS Code. Line number 4. Counter is span. Guy, it's pretty simple. Line number 2 pe dekho. You have written, you're trying to set span, but that is what? That is the input, na? You have to change it to input. Yeah, just change it to input and I think it will work. See, this is what you should keep on doing every time you are facing any issues. Just try to read the error message and you'll get your problem. Any other queries, guys? Because I think we are done. Yeah, it happens. It's no need to be sorry about it, right? Because many times this happens is I'm also doing some crazy level stuff, and when I seek error, okay, that's good that you have done it. नहीं आएगा, I told you, right? Because for that we have to know about events, right? Events के अंदर भी there is some events called as change events and things like that. That is I told you, right? That is a difficult question, not very simple question. I've solved that in the last batch, and that was. Events के साथ भी there is something. I think as far as I remember, उसमें you have to tell how many words are are there. If I'm not wrong. The person one will write one word and you'll have to tell how many words he's typing. That is for that. I think you also have to know rejects, or you also have to know how to split words and etc. So how many lectures are roughly around we have 15 to 17 lectures in this. हाँ अपेंड वाला देखो, अपेंड में एक सिंपल सा चीज मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ कि whenever you have created any element उसको आपको किसी में अपेंड करना है, राइट? यू हैव जस्ट एडेड टू एनी एलिमेंट। आपको डिवीजन के अंदर ऐड करना है, आपको बॉडी के अंदर ऐड करना है, आपको कहीं और ऐड करना है। सो you'll just write element where you want to add it dot append and which you want to add it, right? So बाकी you can view the recording wherein I've given the example also, वहां से clear हो जाएगा. This is just the simplest part, simplest way of explaining. Yeah, I know this is way ahead than that, right? Because I told you, right, कि बहुत बुरी तरीके से assignment map हुए हैं इसमें this time, which I've notified them. Yes, you can share your screen, Kishan. It's pretty cold. It's pretty cold. Delhi ka I'm not sure, but NCR mein it is pretty cold. I've recently moved out, so. Cool. What is the problem that you are having? So you're trying to append it to the. No. Append के बाद ना, you also have to write किसको append करना है. Append के बाद, append is a method, not a property. Yeah. Append के बाद just write the function call जैसा रखते हैं. We write parenthesis. हाँ. Parenthesis this ऐसे. Yep. Just you can write division, div. Yeah, div. The element that you have created ना. That's it. देखो आ गया. Right? First of all, see, I told you, right? देखो एक second. Let me share my screen once again. Done? Is it done? Your output is, I mean, your queries is on now. Yeah. So I think I've shared it right among with you. I have written pretty vast note in the last section. So वहां पे you can see. Can you see? This is a way, right? We write the element which you want to append, right? Then we write append child कर सकते हो, append भी कर सकते हो. Don't go with append child because append child थोड़ा सा अजीब लगेगा तुमको. Just try to go with append only. Append लिखो and then division का नाम लिख दो जिसको append करना. That's it. That's how you can append any of the element, right? Is it making sense now? And just keep on trying it. This is what I can suggest. Yeah. All right. So I think we are done. Experiment basically. Yeah. I think we are done, right? Okay, just a second. Yep, go on.
I actually had a question regarding, the previous module HTML when you thought. So recently I saw that, I was creating some simple website layouts. And once I gave the margin 0, right, for the whole element. And, I wanted the entire background of the whole page to be one color, let's say blue or something. Later on, when you add margins, that actually changes and it reverts to, white margins.
Later, when you added margins?
When I added a div and, added margins, right? I believe I got like white margins in between there.
Between the divisions?
Yeah, in the middle of the page.
Yeah, okay, all right. So this is what you don't want, right?
Yeah, I want the whole page to have one standard color, right? So suddenly I just wanted to understand, like, why when we add margins, it's going back to the old format.
See, I believe you have given that margin 0 to body only, or have you given like start selector? I mean the universal selector.
Yeah, the universal, I think.
So you have given universal selector and then you have given margins to 0, right?
Yeah.
Then all the divisions must have been all the division and every thing must have been like set to 0. So, and you have just added division, you have just added division elements, right? Nothing else?
Yeah, no, just one division element, and then I gave it some margin.
Okay, so if you have given margins to that, and margins started getting white, right?
Yeah, the margin between the, let's say it was 10 pixel, that 10 pixel of line, block line would be white.
Okay. As far as I'm getting, it should not get to white. Or maybe could be situation that, you know, boxes are placed and I mean, verbally, I'm not, you know, getting what could be the problem. It would be better
Yeah,
if you will share the code snippet with me on the Discord. I'll
yeah,
look into it, like what is the exact issue that would have been there.
sure, sure, no issue. I'll do that. Thank
Okay.
you.
Anything else?
No,
Great. Cool then. So anyone else want to share any questions or anything? Okay. I think we are done, right? We don't have anything else. Yep. So all the best, everyone, right? For the module test, not for the module test, but the weekly contest. I hope you'll nail it. And we'll meet on Mondays. We'll, you know, have a discussion on the contest that you would have given. And further, we'll take the DOM manipulation from here and we'll move ahead with the discussion. That's it. So, yeah. So, bye bye, everyone. Have a very happy weekend. And yeah, all the best for the test. Bye bye.